Did you already start recording?
That's the first thing that was said right there.
Oh, perfect.
That's awesome. That's how you start a successful podcast.
He was just looking at me all funny, and I thought he was had the fuck chair conversation in there.
So I'm sitting here with James and Andy from GrindWorks. I'm going to ask them some questions today.
It's the Kevin podcast.
Let's see if we can get more views this way.
I don't care. If you want to flip it and you host this one, that'd be fun.
That would be hilarious. Just, set everybody's expectations on their ear. So
Let me just cough in everyone's ear right there.
You want to hear what the inside of my mouth sounds like?
Yeah. Let's hear it.
Hi, James.
Oh.
See, that's the weird thing is we're sitting here and it's just the three of us, collectively three idiots sitting in a room where other people are going to be listening to us in the future as opposed to listening to us in the past. So, which wouldn't make any sense whatsoever.
Yeah, but we can only talk about things that have occurred in the past.
That's true.
For the future.
Exactly.
So it's like we're historians, really.
Okay. But what if we talk about things that are going to happen in the near future, and then by the time you post this, they land up being in the past? I think I just broke you.
No. What happens if they don't come true? Then you're just predicting things.
Okay.
Even if we have plans, we're gonna drive back to Pittsburgh after this. But are we?
I hope so.
Yeah,
You're not
well,
staying
so
here,
so do we.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys drove all the way up to Buffalo for an impromptu driveway basketball session. That was pretty dope.
Yeah.
So, BMX would have been funner, but
Yeah, but basketball in the rain is pretty cool too.
exactly. I mean, making those shots, that was pretty dope.
Cool puddle dribbles, soggy pants.
So yeah, soggy pants, wet socks. We all have our socks on still.
I just like to chill in wet socks.
Yeah, so this is pretty much how this one's starting out, isn't it?
Whoops, wrong sock this
Well,
morning.
welcome to Buffalo, and welcome to the Kevin Czuba podcast on the GrindWorks podcast. I don't know what number this is. 027, I believe.
Okay. I'll believe you. So either that or we'll just renumber it and it will be 027. So the only problem will be is
Unless 027 already exists, because this is being recorded in the present. Now it's the past. It will be posted and listened to in the future.
But yeah.
And I could elect to record another one and post it as 27 before this one.
That's true. I feel bad for the future civilizations that'll be stumbling across this.
If this does go in chronological order, it's 27.
Good call. See, he knows what he's talking about, even though it's
I knew it was 27, but I don't know if I post them up right.
Yeah.
I could go back to Pittsburgh and have some phenomenal, important news that I need to post.
You could basically find someone a lot more interesting to talk to than me and James for the 47th time, although it's only 27 podcasts. So
I've talked to him a lot of times. Yeah, James Yusczyk is with us yet again.
Yep, probably annoying everyone.
he's basically a sidekick at this point. I mean, really, it's...
Yeah. I mean, it's just the co-host you expect to have.
Yeah. Just need somebody to laugh at your jokes and kind of get your water, squish your bananas.
He might be the favorite. People might listen because they like him more than me. And then anytime they tune in and James is not on that episode, they're like, I'm going to pass on this one.
I feel like I'm just the brick wall that you play wall ball on, and I just say yeah to every time. Every time you throw something at me, it's just like, yeah.
Have you noticed that about yourself in the episodes?
At least the first one.
Yeah?
Well, you were pretty much the guinea pig at that point, so...
Yeah, he had to be. He was living in that room. I almost couldn't do the podcast without him.
Well, then you would have been doing it in an empty room by yourself, which would be kind of weird.
Yeah, or in his bedroom, and he just like trying to be quiet and not participate.
Quietly
have
jerking
even-
it underneath the
That
blanket.
might have even been even better. Like just to see you try to do a podcast in a room with an unwilling participant.
Occasionally, like, would you just shut up? I'm trying to sleep. No.
So where do we angle this? What are we looking to accomplish here?
I don't know. I mean, we drove up to Buffalo to do a podcast in the rain
I mean,
and play basketball. I
Exactly.
really don't want to downplay the play basketball.
Yeah.
There was some good
was a key component of the day.
there was some good basketball playing, that's for sure. That is something that neither one of us, I think, really foresaw happening today.
yeah.
I don't ever foresee basketball in my day. It's never like, I can't wait to play basketball today. It just kind of happens occasionally.
Spontaneous basketballing. So James wants to say something.
No.
You can see it in his face.
I mean, you were just asking where we could angle it, and I'm like, we could either go like He-Man and G.I. Joe, we can go bike collection, BMX museum.
I'm just looking at your face. So there's no visual here. So
Well, speaking of no visual, I just want to point out that Kevin's shirt does not match my shirt, even though Kevin has a shirt that matches my shirt and could match my shirt if Kevin wanted to go change his shirt.
if you want, I could go change my shirt to match you.
No,
We
I
need to hear
like
the
that one.
ruffling in the
The
mic.
colors really like go well together, and we're really just, hammering it in how good this episode could be if we had a visual component.
I basically set up my living room so that it would be like visually pleasing as a set piece. And then,
you're
literally
telling
as
me
soon
I
as
let you down.
yeah, well, basically as soon as I sent that to James, and he was like, "Oh, he's just bringing his audio equipment," and I was like, "Well, I already moved furniture, so what's the point? Moving it back."
That's funny. I was gonna say, if this was what you were set up for doing, like a video component, that would be really.
Well, I figured
Tough.
we'd both be over here, so we'd have like a nice backdrop. As you can see from the pictures on the wall, it just kind of like it complements pretty much everything that encompasses the me, I guess.
Yeah, if you're just listening to the audio component, just check the YouTube, and you can really check out what we're talking about.
Should I take a photo and then just like it's just a still frame for the entire thing?
I'll probably take a picture of Kevin over there.
Yeah.
Maybe before
More than
before
likely.
the end. Posing it out on one of his bikes.
That would be gnar.
On the dinosaur.
You can do a bicycle headstand for all your haters.
Yeah, we can get into that too. We can get into that.
Oh, that would be, yeah, that'll work. I think we can find a way to make that happen.
So, reverting back to the intro that I only kind of did, I like to refer to you as the People's Champ
I appreciate that.
of the Lip Lords game of bike,
I believe was it
hosted by Brant Moore.
Was that you that coined that phrase, or was it?
I said it, and then I saw other people say it after.
Yeah, I think so. That was fun as all get out. I mean, it was. I think both of us passed on the first call out for it when he was looking for people, and then due to some math that you pointed out was in error, I think we both somehow got roped into it. I think actually you lobbied hard and forced me.
The game needed someone to bring the fun.
Yeah, that's all I can really bring is fun because I can't do all the cool stuff, so I have to throw weird things at it and just see what happens. Try to combo 47 moves into one thing, and try to confuse some poor kid that's half my age and twice as good.
I had joked with Brant at the very, very beginning of that game that we should just play it like the game of Simon. And don't do any hard tricks. Just do so many grind combos in a row that he can't remember the order to do them in.
That would be awesome. Just how many different variations in one line can you do?
Feeble, Smith, feeble, pegs, feeble, pegs, pegs, feeble, Smith.
Bar. Yeah, well, let's see. Well,
One-handed double peg.
if you're talking original Simon, you only had 4. But then eventually they had like the Super Simon. I think it was like 8. That's when it really got confusing. So that's when you got like multiple colors going on at the same time. So
Bop it.
exactly. I like to just, yeah, I would describe my riding style as bop it.
Bop it, twist it, pull it. Then eventually they added like flick it and something else.
It's like super bop it.
I
You
guess.
just put super in front of things. Can somebody do like a super double peg grind? Like, what would that be?
I think it's arms extended, chest on the seat, and flexing your legs straight out back, doing Superman double peg.
It sounds painful.
Then
actually.
drop in like that.
I don't know. I mean, I've like ridden down the road like that, and it kind of hurts.
Yeah, that would. Oh man. Yeah, it's the chest thing. I think that's
I mean, usually you just go to like abs and just hold that out, but that's for ripped people.
Yeah, I was gonna say that is not for us and our dad bods over here. So, I mean, you're a dad, so James, you might be a dad. We don't know.
I hope not. Be like 4 years old. Is it too late to get an abortion?
Oh, I was gonna make some daddy comment, but then I decided to shy away from it and be a little bit more classy, James.
Yeah, no.
Thanks for showing me that I don't need to be. So,
Abortion, yes. Other means of disposal of an unwanted child, maybe not.
oof, woof. Yeah, like nobody's gonna listen to these. So, if you are listening to this, we do appreciate it. So,
We're only 12 minutes in. I mean, if you left already, you didn't care in the first place.
that's true. That's very true.
But no, you've been asking like what we want to talk about, what we should talk about, anything like that. And realistically, like ever since I started doing this, you were one of the first people I wanted to talk to. It's just our location and proximity to one another does not necessarily work out well to meet up.
It's not super conducive to just saying like, "Hey, man, I'm gonna swing over and hang out." So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, like obviously we've seen each other between then and now,
oh, I've seen you. Oh, I mean, yes. So we've seen each other. So,
but not in any like period of time where we've got some downtime or chill or whatever.
well, I know
It's just
you,
been at jams.
yeah, you've made your way up for the jams up here. I think HSC and stuff like that, and like
HCS, just to correct
HCS,
you. Gotta be right.
EMD, KMFDM, something like that. So,
LMNOP.
yeah, whole bunch of like alphabet stuff. Well, have we met up at Wheel Mill or no?
I don't think you and I have been at the wheel mill at the same time.
Right.
I probably knew you were coming into town. I was like, not going there.
Yes. Why would you want to do that? So, I think last time we went to the Wheel Mill, we almost killed James. So
Yeah.
that was cool. That was not cool.
I just got too comfortable on your dirt jumper.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That is when that happened.
I mean,
I was not there.
Yeah. The worst thing about that was almost killing James. The second worst part was that the drive back to Buffalo, which was going to start at a reasonable 9:30, and didn't start till about 12:30 or later, I think, at that point, and we were that much further into PA. So that was an interesting drive back with Luke and Zach taking turns driving. Zach was regaling us with trivia, any and all trivia that he could find on his phone, just to try to keep us all engaged, so that somebody wouldn't pass out and drive us off the road. So
Fair.
nothing like a full day of driving down there, riding, and then driving back at the butt crack of a new day. So
Yeah, well, and you were at the worst pocket right there too. That anytime I've done like long overnight drives, the 3 to 4 o'clock window is the absolute worst.
Oh yeah, it was garbage. So.
After that, like 5 to 6, kind of, you're starting to catch some like light from the sun rising, and you can kind of trick yourself into the morning routine, and you're like, all right, I'm up now.
Yeah. No,
That 3 to 4 window, man, that is the worst.
pitch black darkness, and you're already exhausted after riding all day. Perfect.
But that's probably when you would have been getting home, right? Like 4:30 after that.
I mean, if we would have left at 9,
1.
we would have been home by 1. It's reasonable. So, but no, very sorry. I digress. Very flattering that you actually wanted to talk to me. That's really weird. I find that odd. I don't know why. It's like, but
just because you're an interesting dude with a different mindset. So, like, you can only talk to so many of the same people that every trick they do is a bar spin or a bar spin or a bar spin into something or a bar spin out of something or 2 bar spins.
the nollie bar.
Yeah, nollie bar. Sometimes a 180 bar.
Smith nollie bar, hat fall off.
Bar catch bar.
Oh, bar catch bar.
Half bar.
I can
No,
ground,
half bars aren't cool. No one does half bars.
I can ground bar. I can't really I can't bar. By bar, I just mean like bar spin period. So
I thought you meant like bar catch bar.
oh, I should try that. I'm gonna learn that. I'm gonna learn that right now. James, grab my bike.
Yep.
If the audio gets a little choppy, you'll know why. I'm trying to bar catch bar. So
But no, like just having different thoughts and I don't know, just something different.
I like that. I guess with the how do I articulate this? I guess the approach that I take to riding is different because of the limitations that I like have put on myself, or just like when I got started and whatnot. It's like, I mean, James, when did you start riding? When you were like 4, 5, something like that? Like,
I mean, like going to the skate park, I was like 12.
yeah. So you started like basically BMXing for real, not just riding a bike at 12.
Yeah.
How about you?
10.
Okay. So 19. So, I mean, I rode a bike. You know, we jumped off curbs and crap and stuff like that, but never like, you know, there was no real BMXing and stuff like that. So it was a very late start. So all those fundamentals that you got locked down, where it was like, you know, your tabletops and your turn downs and all that stuff you were trying, I didn't learn that stuff. I learned flatland, and then I started doing some other stuff at the park, but I'm not going to jump, you know, a stair set. I'm not going to like, you know, air out of a quarter, like, you know, 5 feet, you know. So basically it was like, well, I tried some of that stuff for a while when X Wheels was around, you know, tried, you know, going bigger, trying to do things, and it wasn't fun. It sucked. And I knew I wasn't going to start doing tail whips. So I was like, well, let's just try doing stuff that other people aren't doing. Not like with any real plan. It just kind of, that's what it evolved into. So
Yeah, well, so that's kind of the other side of that I like. Sometimes you see people they're being different to be different. And I've never gotten that impression out of the way that you ride or anything. It's just like, I don't know, man. I'm just doing what I think is fun at any given point in time.
yeah.
And sometimes just doing whatever will work.
Yeah. And I think that's you know, a number of years ago, basically it was like struggling with like, you know, feeling like you were not progressing or not going to keep up with everyone else. And it was like, well, I walked away from it for a little while, like for almost an entire summer. And then when I came back, I was like, well, I just want to have fun. I just want to do the stuff that I think is cool or that I enjoy doing. And that's what it evolved into. It was like, you know what, this is neat. It's like, it doesn't have to be big and flashy, or, you know, it doesn't have to be what everybody else likes. So if I'm happy with it, that's all that really matters. And if you hear like Ricky talking about it, it's like as you get older, which you eventually will, and yeah,
I know, baby James over here.
baby James and whatnot. And even you, I mean, at some point, it's like you get to that point where you realize, like, holy crap, it's like I can't, not that I can't, but it's like, you know, the risk versus reward to like launch off of something crazy. It's like, you know.
Well, it's even, there's a component of upkeep of skills too that, you know, when I was 15, I could get out of school and ride every day. When I was 19, I was making that happen a lot. 25 and you're like, man, I'm pretty busy at work. Like, I'm catching a session, maybe like a short one every night, but not the sessions you used to have, or not every night. Mm-hmm. And then like 31 now. I don't know how old you are. If you even want to go down that road.
Oh yeah.
Keep it a secret.
No, that's okay.
But like, it's just not something that you can't ride often enough to maintain your existing trick set, let alone like really zone in and learn anything of difficulty. So yeah, you just kind of pick what you're good at, pick what you like doing, and you run with it.
Yeah. And so you're 31. Awesome. I'm 41 going on 42. So it's like just the wear and tear starts to get to you after a while, but you know, you can still do it. So have fun with it. And it's what I find interesting and what's actually been rather invigorating over the last years is stuff like Instagram and finding like guys like Ryder in Black, Montana Ricky, Adam Banton, a couple other guys that just, they're older dudes, but it's like they've still got this, they're still contributing in their own unique way. And it's really just kind of neat to see that, because you don't necessarily get that in your local scene all the time. And actually in the last couple of years, like getting a whole bunch of our crew that's into their later years of BMX, which is late 20s, some even to their early 30s. It's like, you know, kind of like getting us reinvigorated. It's just cool. It brings some life back, you know. Otherwise you're hanging out there with, you know, 18-year-old kids that are just so hungry, you know, because they're all about, you know, the sponsorship game, or they just want to, you know, they got that cool guy factor going on. And it's like the crew that I hang out with, we just want to have fun. And it's like, yeah, there are guys that can dial it up. It's like, I mean, Zach and Josh can, you know, go out there and probably throw contest runs if they want to, but we can also have a really chill session and, you know, land up with 3 dudes on the same bike at some point. So
That's a good
check, you gotta check the visual for that one. That one's really,
that should be the picture for the YouTube video.
What's immensely disappointing is that we pulled it first try at the jam this year. There's no video proof of it. Like, not a single person was running video at that moment. It's like, you know, we're doing the Rat Guts, like old man flatland session basically, and it's like, we're like, dude, let's redo it. Yeah, let's do it. And like first go, it's like boom, like got all 3 of us on there. Like, you know.
Explain it better for the people who like have no clue what we're talking about.
Okay, so basically, I start riding forward. Zach's in front of me, and then he gets around like this, and basically he lands up in this position, and then hops on.
Love the
and
visual.
Then from behind,
I know,
Josh
awesome.
comes, and eventually the way that he's able to eject and get on as well, so we basically land up with, it's
so
complicated.
3 people on 3
if you can
different bikes.
If you can see the way I'm moving right now, that would actually help to really explain it.
Did you check the YouTube?
Yeah, and basically, the first time it took us about a half hour to get it right.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, at the jam, just through the lining up of the stars in the universe, basically, we did it like one and done.
So is it like standing on the pegs?
Yeah, basically.
So
kinda,
3 people on 3
3
different
people
bikes,
kind of Eiffel
then-
Towered.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's
They jump on.
It's a very, very interesting visual. But yeah, I really wish somebody would have captured that, because that was a magical moment.
I think the key component to take away is Eiffel towering on a bike.
Yeah.
And that's really all you need
Kevin
to
was
envision.
in the middle.
Of course he was.
We
Well,
have the
you
star
know.
of the show, man.
If you're gonna get love,
Get it from both sides.
it's but that's I guess what comes from. Here you go. Here's a visual for you. So, but I mean, if you're gonna go out and ride your bike, you know, go and have fun doing it, because if you're not having fun, what's the point? So,
I think it, like, just being in the older range, and I think James is pretty much there. Like,
James is there mentally.
Yeah, if he really wanted to, and he took his, like, all of his effort into it, he could still do something. Okay.
And the thing is,
I'm watching this happen now, but it just isn't really something that's gonna like develop.
There's definitely effort involved.
Yeah, I can't ride so much just because
good
of my
switcheroo.
job.
Oh, you even got the high five in the Eiffel Tower. That is a party.
But yeah, like I can't really ride so much just because like of my job. I'm on the road. Like
Yeah.
I was just on the road for damn near 6 weeks straight. Like I can bring my bike out there, but it's fucking Minnesota.
Well, and you like who are you riding with at that point?
Yeah.
You know, like you can get out there. You could really hit people up in Instagram, but I don't know. Basically, where I was going with that is that it brings it back to just core riding. You know, you're not out there chasing the dream. You're not hungry for a sponsorship or free parts or anything like that. You're out there having fun with your friends, riding a bike, and it's nothing more, nothing less.
Absolutely, just for the love of it. So, you know. Speaking of which, if anyone does want to sponsor me, I'm very cheap. So it's like, I'll gladly, like, you know, fly your colors for little to no pay. So, you know. Hashtag sponsor me. So.
Even less than pay, just a discount.
Yeah, dude. It's like I'll even buy your stuff. You know, if you.
Just like a flow discount.
Just not charge me tax will be good. So. Give me free shipping discount. So.
Keep that in mind. Kevin is available. He is whoring himself out pretty cheap.
Say as long as you don't expect too much, you won't be disappointed. So.
If you don't expect anything, you can't be disappointed at all.
That's true. And I think actually that's kind of funny. That was one of the I think it was Matt, like we were talking about like riding and stuff like that, and it somehow came out that it's like, well, it's like if you're doing something that nobody else is doing, they can't say you're doing it wrong. So like that's true. So, you know, if you're doing a trick that no one else is doing, and it's like, well, what do you mean I'm doing it wrong? It's like nobody else is doing this, you know, trick that needs to be described with a paragraph. So, you know.
Headstand.
Yeah. I'm surprised there's not more people doing that. It's kind of disappointing. I'd like to see somebody else do it. There's other people doing the sliders, and they're like really taking that stuff up many notches.
Did you see the one the other day?
Yeah, everybody like tagged me in that
1080
thing.
or something. I figured
like,
that's why I didn't.
Well, it's like, you know, Tate's been doing them for a while. But he's doing them on like the pedal no pegs. Brant and I were both doing it on the pegs, I think.
Yeah, I remember doing it way back at East Coast Terminal. I used to do it because they had the super smooth concrete floor. You just lay it down, stand up on it, and pretty much do a 180, and then ride out fakie.
Right.
But
I saw a clip of Taj doing it. And I've heard like other people, like I think the Gons did it or something like that, and it's like it's one of those tricks that's just kind of like I think as collectively has existed throughout time, and it's just like certain individuals pick up on it, and it's like no, it's not new. It's just nobody does it. So I'm really curious as to what that surface was that kid was on, because that looked really cool. And it's like 360 has been done. I just don't think I can get it to go anymore without like a super slick hard concrete or like a heavily painted surface or something like that. So
my guess is that he was on his pedal and using some of like the momentum that you can hook into the pedal to keep whipping it around.
And it looked kind of slightly downhill too as well, so that kind of helped. And plus he's not dragging pegs, so that's you start sliding pegs across that concrete. It's even the skate park here locally that it had whatever the glaze on it. I think this has worn off over the years. That was the best spot to do it. And actually they painted that one section to the back. I can slide the entire length of it on my pegs, like laying down. So if they painted a whole big section on it, I'm sure we could pretty much like rip on it. So, but I think they decided to not paint the rest of it because they realized that that cost a lot of money, and it's like, well, we could actually just put it in the park instead of painting it to look pretty. So
Plus that
It also
guy.
kind of turns it into a death trap with any like water or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, that guy did it still sitting down on the seat pretty much. He like had both his feet on the pedals too, like how you and I have done it in the past. It's like more standing.
yeah, it's kind of like
Side on the
a
frame.
side stand where the Tate version is basically like a sit down,
Yeah.
almost like an ass slide, if you will.
Yeah.
So, but
I mean, his name's pretty appropriate for it. Superbike slide. It's just like laying it down on a motorcycle,
yeah, and that's
right in the corner.
those are the kind of riders that I like to watch. It's like I like see people like Tate and Eric and guys that just like do stuff that's a little bit off. And it's like, it's you watch so many street edits now or like Instagram clips. It's like yeah. It's like not taking away from that is hard, but it's like it's just boring. It's like
I get it.
yeah.
There was a really good period of time, and it happened almost hand in hand with when we started GrindWorks. I just stopped watching edits and stopped paying attention to BMX in general and doing whatever I wanted to do, which like still falls pretty, I would say, in line with conventional BMX.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think, yeah,
you kind of miss out on a lot of the stuff that's going on, and then when you do try to tie back in, you're like, I'm not really that into this. Like,
yeah, there was a time where you probably checked like Ride BMX every day for whatever the the newest clips were, the newest like short edit or
yeah, the come up board for any happenings and whatever, and just
I think that's
being involved.
That's I think when I kind of stopped following a lot. It was like when the come up became popular. It's like I just wasn't digging it, and it just wasn't like this was pre-Instagram, like, but like post internet really kind of taken off. So maybe it was like 2010, 2011 ish, where it was like heavy checking every day kind of thing. Now it's like if it's not on the Instagram, it's like
Yeah.
I'm not going to BMX websites. Do BMX websites even exist anymore? I don't know. Are we past that?
I mean, to touch on another podcast, I was listening to Imprimatur, the newest Ryan Fudger
Okay.
episode, I think. And he was talking about, like they use their website, they post stuff there, it shares it to Facebook, so they post stuff there. But they kind of reserve their Instagram for like premium content. Like they'll post anyone's video
Right.
to the website. They'll post anyone's video to
The Facebook.
the Facebook just because their website posts it to their Facebook when they publish. But they're not posting everyone's like 1 minute promo for their edit on their Instagram. They're reserving it for either the really highlight stuff or they're paying sponsors.
That's interesting because I think probably back when I was paying attention, it was like if you were landing up on the website.
The website was the end goal.
You were the shit. It was like bam. It's like you made it. You got on their thing. So.
Well, so if you listen to that episode of that podcast, it's actually an interesting
What's that
discussion.
podcast? Just we want to get a side promotion here. So.
Imprimatur BMX.
Okay, who hosts that? Is that?
Mike Hinkins.
Okay, so I figured maybe you can get maybe a shout back at some points.
But he did one with Trey Jones, and then the immediate follow-up was with Ryan Fudger. And basically there's a discussion going on about owning the @BMX Instagram handle and reserving it for the premium paid sponsorship posting when @BMX should or could be everybody collectively, and who are they to say what BMX is or is not?
Yeah.
So it's kind of an interesting discussion, and I can see both arguments on it, because in theory that's going to exist no matter what, and I would assume it's better that they define what @BMX is rather than like some idiot But yeah, I don't know. It just, when I was listening to that episode, it sounded a little bit contradictory, like the saying that no, it's not limiting BMX, but then saying that it's reserved for their premium content only. It's kind of, I don't know. If you listen to it and you've got an opinion, then it is what it is. But I'm probably not summarizing it appropriately either.
I guess there's always been like a gatekeeper mentality to some degree with, you know, within any sport, any whatever you want to call this. I'm going to call it a sport and probably get yelled at. So it's lifestyle. You know, it's like when it was magazines, it was like, you know, what got printed. It was either who you knew or whatnot, or or who got paid to be in there, or whatever. It's like, you know, you weren't getting, you know, your small time folks.
Yeah, well, here's $1,000 to help with your magazine and promote company ABC, but I also expect to see ABC riders in the magazine.
Right.
Nudge, nudge.
Wink, wink. Yeah.
You know, and there's, to some degree, it's like, all right, well, ABC riders then have to be doing something cool in order to get published, and they'd be in there anyway.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, I think it's kind of a tough line to walk for media. I have no obligation on either side of this, so I don't feel swayed to not talk about it. Yeah. But like,
well, at one point, I'm sure it was like if you got your picture in a magazine or whatnot, that was like, wow, that's awesome. You know, that's so cool. You know, and then what do you call it? You land up, you know, when internet came along, and it's like you land up on the website, and that's cool. And now it's like, well, you can post up your own stuff and get, you know, like through Instagram or whatnot. And it's like you can post up your own videos. It's like you don't have to have a filmer. You don't have to have a guy that does editing. It's like you can literally do all this stuff yourself now. And it's like it's a leveling field to some degree, but
well, you don't have to follow the stuff that's lame too, which is kind of a cool thing and a bad thing for a lot of people. Like, it's really hard to promote a lame brand on Instagram because people just won't follow you.
That's true. So you got to put out something of quality.
So that's why GrindWorks has so low.
That's true.
Count.
Well, like, going into what you were saying about like the paid advertising and everything, fast forward to like the Come Up. When the Come Up first came out, it was like get the little man's name out there. And then after pretty much around the same time Instagram popularity started taking off, it became just their crews, not really too much of anyone else. But like when I remember when it first started, like the first couple years or so, it was like trying to like people could upload their stuff on there, and it was like they were promoting like the little guy.
Yeah, well, and right at the beginning when they would post anyone's stuff, it was kind of just like way too much.
Yeah.
So you had to dial it back, and now it's being screened, and you're like, all right, there's at least a bare minimum level of quality to get on the site. And I think that's needed, but the question is always going to be, what is that line? Where's that cutoff? And, you know, why did your video make it and mine didn't, or vice versa?
Yeah.
Like, and it's hard to say it's like there's a minimum level of riding level that needs, it's like, well, yeah, it's like you don't want just a kid just, you know, pedaling at a ramp, but it's like, well, what if his video quality is not that good, but his tricks are cool? Or it's like, it's stuff that's different and weird, you know? It's like...
So you're asking where your Come Up post is?
I never posted anything to the Come Up, so it's like I said, I dropped off. I can honestly say I have zero exposure to the Come Up. I don't think I've ever really wandered around on there. I think that's when I dropped off of like that. So like hearing you guys talk about it, I kind of find it interesting. It's kind of like, oh, it's like, so that's what it was like, you know?
For a short period of time.
Yeah. I mean, you guys had the MySpace too, right? And stuff like
Yeah.
that. So,
Oh, yeah.
See, didn't have that either, so.
MySpace was cool.
I mean, that weird, like, generational gap area where it's, you know, it's like almost like a boomer on Facebook, you know. Like,
if I don't share this.
You were the reason we all resisted Facebook for a while. We're like, we don't want to end up like Kevin.
Probably. God, it's lame.
Everyone else is on Facebook, and you're like trying to hold out to MySpace because it's not Facebook.
I just remember jumping onto like, Facebook and stuff like that and whatnot. And then all of a sudden everybody jumped to Instagram. It's like, damn it. It's like, what's next? Everybody's on the TikTok or, whatever. So
I don't even know what TikTok is, but I've heard that a few times recently.
I remember the ads were like cancer for a while. So
it was like the new Vine. They were trying to turn it into like the new Vine thing where it was like a short video clip that you would just do dumb stuff on.
But
you could also like edit music into it.
Didn't Vine fail?
Yep.
So let's bring that back.
Hey, it's got to fail twice before you
really write it off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I like Instagram enough.
Yeah. Social media is weird too. It's like, I don't know. It's neat, but it's also like kind of a weird pain in the ass kind of thing. So it's like why are you stressing over like people liking your stuff?
Especially when likes today are gone tomorrow. Like nothing matters.
Yeah.
I never will probably understand stories or Snapchat or anything like that. Like, I always looked at Snapchat as the stuff that you record that's not even worth posting to Instagram. So, in that regard, I always look at it like, why even bother posting it at all? If you're deeming this not worthy, why are you posting it? And then they brought it over to Instagram with stories, and you're like, so you want to show me what you didn't think was cool? Why do I want to see that?
Being uncool is cool. Remember that.
Yeah, but it's just like if you hit stories and you start going through them, you're like, don't care, don't care, don't care. Why am I here? And just close it. I don't know. That's my opinion on it, is that it's stuff that was not worth posting. But you posted it anyway.
Oh, yeah. Let's get deep and philosophical in here. So.
Yeah. I don't know. I use like Instagram for like pretty much strictly BMX stuff and like sometimes my cat. Mm-hmm. So like I feel like Snapchat is like,
Frogs.
Here's me being, this is me vlogging without actually vlogging almost. Like this is what I do when I'm being boring.
I use Snapchat to talk to James. I haven't even done that lately, so.
I'm the only one that Snapchats him.
I think you're my only Snapchat friend.
I know. It's all right. I'm going to touch on this one real quick, but I do want to come back to that. James is the only one that Snapchats me, as he said. And it takes me, I don't know, sometimes up to like 3 weeks to reply to him.
And I'll just like spam him too, like once every couple days.
I'll be honest, James. Actually, the reason if you have Snapchatted me, the reason I probably haven't replied is because my new phone does not have my Snapchat on it. It's still on my old phone. So, oh wait, it's on here, but I don't think it's actually logged in. Let's see. Username. Yeah. Yeah.
Also,
yeah. I can't even get past the username. So it's like I wouldn't be able to say like, yeah, what's my password? I'm confused. So,
Did anyone ever tell you to stop it, Kevin?
Stop what?
Stop.
So during the last podcast that I was in, or maybe even the one before that.
I think it was the very last one.
Yeah.
It was something about, I'd have to listen back through for the context, but it was when you were making your quarter pipe for the lip lords thing.
Oh.
About the cut line. But then there was something in the podcast that was to say, to send you a DM to just stop or stop it. And then I waited about 2 months to post the podcast. So it was going to be really funny if anyone did it, that you'd be getting all these random messages that just say stop.
I know that it really bugged you that like I was saying something about precision or whatnot, and then it's like you see this.
No, it didn't bother me.
No.
Oh.
I thought it was comical, and I thought you were doing it on purpose. I thought it was that you were highlighting that you missed. in a joking manner, and that's why I thought it was so good. And then you're like, no, I didn't miss. That wasn't the line. And I'm like, it's not as funny anymore.
It's not as funny. Oh, you ruined the joke. Good job. Damn it.
I just liked the idea of precision work over here, and you like missed it by about 3 inches by the end.
That's because the first time I drew the line, it was like, then I went and remeasured, and I was like, whoa, this is going to be way off. I mean, the fact that that ramp got built, like, within a very short amount of time, like, half in the dark, like, and the fact that it survived me and being taken to the jam, that's some precision shoddy work there. So, I mean, it had other people hitting it, which I thought for sure was going to just
didn't it
combust.
Who was it that was trying to flip out of it?
Yeah, Troy was trying to backflip it.
It's
that
like
was
3 feet tall, not even.
Who knows what the radius is? Like,
yeah, it's like the tiniest kicker of your life.
Well, it was a full size ramp, and I just cut it.
Yeah.
Because I basically said I have a 4 foot sheet of plywood that I can use, and that's how big it's gonna be. So, and actually Sasquatch landed up like double peg stalling the top of it. Somehow, which is pretty gnarly. I don't know how he made that work, but so even that didn't destroy it. So
yeah, like it's a good kicker, but for a flip, it's not a good kicker.
Dude.
That tiny one in his
Yeah,
garage.
I know what you're talking about. I'm not sure that I agree with you. I think it would be fine for like a little mini flip.
Uphill landing.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely have to mess around with it a little bit more because the last time that I rode it, I basically like landed on my ass, so out of a rollback. So that's we'll have to experiment some more. So get a good chiropractor, kids. It'll help you out in the future. So pro tip. So stretch.
Touching back to Snapchat.
Oh, yeah.
As I said, you're the only one that ever sends me anything on it. I have posted it on numerous occasions to the GrindWorks Instagram.
Add me on Snapchat.
I mean, if we're going on like a long drive, sometimes I'll post it up and just hand my phone to the passenger and be like, you're in charge for the next like 6 hours.
Is this the GrindWorks the GrindWorks Snapchat?
Yeah.
Or okay.
And I mean, sometimes you'll get some interesting stuff going on, but I follow back anyone that will add it, even though I never look at it. But there's been occasions where that thing is blowing up, and I'm just like, I really hate Snapchat. And it's just kind of funny. So bringing it up is like making me laugh that I put it at the end of every podcast. I shout out the Snapchat. And that every time, James is still the only one that sends me anything.
I don't know. Like I said, I dicked around with it with you, and it was kind of like, all right, this is cool, but like, I mean, basically it's the same thing I get on Messenger, where I can send stuff back and forth, and I can this and that, and it's like, if I'm posting stuff on Instagram, why am I posting on Snapchat for it to disappear? And I don't know. It's like more nefarious things, maybe. Who knows? I don't know.
Definitely.
James, you can clue us in. You're young, so.
Yeah, no, that's the only reason I was trying to get you to use it.
Oh, okay, thanks. Sorry, James.
all the dick pics.
Not gonna. Keeping that close to the vest, James. You ain't getting that. Not for free. Gotta sign up for premium. So.
Premium Snap.
Premium Snapchat. Oh, how long are we at? People be bored now, right?
No, I just keep watching the battery because I haven't changed it in a while.
Awesome.
I have them with me, so it's quick intermission when that comes up. But we're at 49 minutes.
I say we just all of a sudden it's like it just drops dead. We don't tell anybody, and we never address it.
Yeah, never. Like it just ends there. But no, his last one was a 4-hour one with Sam. So.
Oh dear God, who'd want to listen to that?
I don't know.
Like I said, the whole concept is kind of weird, but it's like, like doing the like we did your bike build as a live stream, and I did my bike build as a live stream. I'm in my garage alone, but apparently 50 other people are like watching and commenting or like whatnot. It's a very fishbowl kind of like thing.
I think it's just whatever you're into. Like, I would never consider myself, at least at this point in my life, into like bike checks or something like that. But there's gotta be people, maybe even in their like late 20s, 30s, whatever, that's what they're into. Is like they're just into the styles, they're into the colors, they're into matching and like the new builds, and like if that's what you're into, that's awesome.
Or like seeing what geometries and crap that certain riders ride. 'Cause
Yeah,
when we
just
did our
specs.
Yeah, when we did ours, there was a lot of questions on specs.
Yeah, they were questioning a whole bunch of stuff. So
And it's like funny to some degree. You're like, I don't know, man. Why don't you just Google it? Like, if you want to know what the specs of this frame are, then Google this frame, and you can find that all out.
it's like go to the website, and then there's usually a link on Instagram. So
But overall, like, I get where those views and stuff come from, because I don't think that market is as saturated as like edits. If you want to watch good riding, there's good riding left and right. Everywhere you want to look, you can find good edits here or there. To look at like a good wheel build or bike build or just nicely styled and put together, and then hosted by someone that has a good following too. Like Brant's following is pretty solid. So I think he's just finding what his viewers like to see, and then cater to it a little bit too.
yeah, it is kind of fun and interesting to like to do wheel build off challenge with them or something like that. And it's like you don't see that or a lot of times you do, and it's like it's shoddy quality, or just like it's kind of entertaining to see it kind of like come to life right in front of you. So.
Or, I mean, sometimes it's just that the person doing it sucks, too. And you're like, you're not entertaining. Because I know how I would be if I was trying to record myself building a wheel. And I've been asked to do this with that 4-cross all inside.
Oh, I know Luke was hitting you up for questions on that.
Put a wheel build video together on that. And I'm just like, yeah, but I focus on it so much that, like,
it's hard to be entertaining.
I could probably do it live. Like if I live streamed it and I had actual questions popping up there, I could interact. But to do it as like sit down in a room and record a how-to video for it, I don't see how I could make that happen. I'm pretty sure I would just sit there quietly and like do it.
Well, that's the thing. So, something like building a set of wheels is like you have to concentrate on it. So it's like it's easy to skip a hole or to like make that one cross wrong, and then it's like all of a sudden it's like the pattern's blown. It's like I built a wheel set last week, and it's like Dennis was sitting here and building. We're watching. I think it was one of like Montana Ricky's. I think it was the Brant and Montana Ricky live stream, and it's like one wheel did perfectly fine. Next one, it's like I goofed something up, and it's like as I got to that 4th cross, and I realized like at the valve hole, I crossed over.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I'm just like, son of a bitch. I'm like, it's like it's workable, it's fine, but it's like every time he's gonna go to put air in his tire, it's gonna be a pain. And I'm like, can't do this.
I rip mine out every time I do that.
Yeah, undid everything, and I was like, because I twisted after the first 2 crosses, I twisted them the wrong way. Instead of twisting it, this way, I twisted it that way. And I was like, it's like, well, I guess we're undoing all those spokes.
Yeah, and see, I know a lot of people that just live with it, and it's like, well, it's not my wheel, they're just going to have to deal with it. And it's like, yeah, but one, you did that as a service for someone, and now you're screwing them over. 2, you're also most likely looking for more wheel building jobs, and this person to recommend you to other people. And what you don't want is in the background, like, well, yeah, so-and-so built my wheel, and then, hey, you don't want to use him. Like, he's shoddy, doesn't care. Because some of it's just care. Like, I care how the wheels I build come out. And, like, when I don't take the extra couple seconds to line up the very first pass so that the logo's kind of in line with the valve stem hole. Just like, it's a cosmetic thing. It doesn't make one bit of functional difference.
Oh yeah, it's like when I put the tires on like the wheel set I built for Colin. It was like, line that up, valve stem label. It's like, just
And
because
the second wheel always, like, if I have the logos facing one way and the font on the rim, I like them to match.
it's a little thing, but
Yeah,
makes a difference. So,
but it's like all the little things come together to be like, wow, you do a great job, or like collectively, this wheel is pretty shoddy. Like, your spokes cross over, they don't line up, like, just, you didn't tension it well. Because that's the thing I hate about anyone else that builds wheels, other than, like, I know Derek's always been good with mine, and I always do it too, is over-tension them. Because the last thing you want is a week later to have Jello spokes. Like, I just built this wheel, and you're like, yeah.
Yeah, they got to be tensioned up and stuff like that, but there is some onus on the owner of that wheel set that when I tell you, ride it for a while, come back to me.
Mm-hmm.
Hit it a couple times, whatnot, and come back. Let me double check everything.
Yeah.
If you don't come back to me for 9 months, yeah, your stuff's gonna be jacked. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I just don't
or if
like
they're able to do the maintenance on their own, where it's like, hey, you ride it, things get a little bit loose, go quarter turn everything, just do a quarter turn pass like once or twice, and that'll get you back up to snuff. Yeah, that's great. But if you ignore that wheel set for the next 9 months, guess what's gonna happen? It's like, they're gonna be wonky.
Yeah, like when everyone runs off of like a tension meter and everything, and they do it exactly to like manufacturer recommended spec, your wheel's not actually tight.
Manufacturer recommended what now?
Yeah, I know they don't. They don't tell you anything.
Tension meter, tensiometer.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have one. I go by feel. It's almost always straight.
I do have a really baller, park stand that makes sure that all my stuff is straight. So, and I usually have a frame standing by too, so I can always double check and make sure that it's actually lined up and dished correctly. So,
yeah, I always check that. I've got a pretty good park stand. I wanted the one with the indicator on it, but I also know myself, and I'm like, if I have a verifiable measurement of how close it is, it's never gonna be good enough. I'm going to be like, I can get it closer.
And I know that I've been using this park stand for so long that it's like basically it's a part of me at this point. So I know it's like, know when it's close. So
most of the time, when it's close before you ever even put it on the stand. Like, just in the build phase, you get it pretty tight. Everything's starting to tension up, and you're like, by feel, you're pretty good.
And James's wheels haven't blown up yet, so.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, those ones.
Well, not the pre-built ones, but the ones before.
Oh, the ones before. Yeah, no, the ones before are good. I've tightened them up a couple times.
Ones on the AOD, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually have Kian's wheels at my house. I've had them for 4 weeks now, and I haven't built them yet.
Well, what? You're not expected to turn things around in 24 hours or less? That's what I've done for some people around here, where it's like, when can you get them? I'm like, I'll have them by Friday. Can I have them Saturday? I'm not getting the parts till Friday. It's like, I'll do what I can.
He was borrowing a wheel from someone.
So that's the landline.
Interesting.
What?
What is that? Can you explain for the young ones?
Yeah, well, you see, there's this thing called a telephone that used to be attached to the wall via cord. Let's see what's going on here. So.
Okay, got us back on now.
Oh shit.
So that was your sponsor call, right?
That was, yeah. I mean, I don't know how they were able to pick up on the podcast, but
I know it like didn't even air yet.
it's amazing. It's like apparently they just must have been listening in through, the collective, BMX freestyle hive mind and just realized that, hey, this guy's available and he's cheap.
Yeah, I mean that's awesome that it happened that quick for you.
Yeah, well,
Now we need to have a party.
that's true.
All right.
James, get on it. So,
Who was it? Let's.
not allowed to speak of it at this moment. So,
Yeah, I mean we can't drop that out. They need to make their official posts and stuff.
Yeah,
before.
it's the rules of social media. You can't post it beforehand and stuff like that. It's sworn to secrecy. I mean, you remember back when Shadow first came out, when guys were getting like abducted and stuff like that, and it was kind of like very hush hush. That whole.
Well, he said Shadow, so it's not Shadow.
No.
Or maybe it is. It's just to throw us off the scent.
Damn. If you see what's hanging on the wall over there, it's kind of
Yeah.
indicative of who it could have been, but
More
No.
visual stuff.
Yeah, I don't even know if he's still involved. Check the if you're listening to the audio, just check YouTube. You'll see where I'm pointing.
Timestamp is 1 minute 37 seconds.
Yeah, true.
For the second recording.
Yeah.
for the second half. So, no, I can't say that I'm completely unsponsored. It's like say I've got my hookups and whatnot. So I have people that take good care of me. Ricky over at Merritt takes very good care of me. I've referred to him as my rubber daddy, and then I looked that up and realized that was probably the wrong thing to say. He keeps me rolling with my tires, my Charlie grips. My son Charlie, you may have seen him. He's kind of tall. And then my boys over at Blackout, they take good care of me, especially Ryan. He's been very supportive of me over the years, so I cannot complain. So he also knows I come cheap, so. Been trying to get one of the rider spots on Mission for a while now, but he says that they don't have riders, but I think that's just an excuse. So, so he's like, yeah, we don't have a budget for that.
Then it's a perfect time to add someone that's cheap and or free.
It's basically what I told him. It's like, and then he said, I don't think you understand how sponsorships work. And I was like, I don't know, like, can I get free stuff? I'll even pay for it. It's like. Oh, sorry. Bad sense of humor. So. Dad's sense of humor. So.
Love a dad's sense of humor.
Yeah, he knows where I'm at. So. Damn, it feels like that landline phone call, like kind of took the steam out of this here. I don't know how much longer we can go. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure. It doesn't matter. Anytime we like start out or have a break, there's always just that like, where were we moment.
That ramp up mode again. So
yeah, and like typically it's a little bit easier for me when we're doing it at the apartment and I've got like the video set up because we just have our like normal discussion going on. And it's like, all right, you ready to start this? Let's go. And then you can dive right into an intro and dive right into whatever. And you've already done like it's not even prep work because it's not like you discuss like a plan or anything, but you've done your introductions and settled in. That's versus true. Like this, I'm like fumbling with it right up until I'm like, at this point, let's just start it.
Let's just roll. Do it live.
And then everyone has to fall into the environment and like figure it out. And then
plus like we can't fall back on like visual gags and stuff like that for for those that aren't watching on the YouTube.
Yeah. So. People that aren't on the YouTube.
It just makes it really tough. So but we should do that for the next time you come up here. So see if you haven't even left, I'm already planning for the next time. It's like maybe we'll pull through the archives and we'll like that'll actually give me a chance to get everything organized too as well, and we can just start pulling out like random like BMX weirdness and play like a guessing game. It's like, what's this for?
Yeah.
Whose bright idea was this? It's like, what purpose does this serve? Or how many of these broke? You know.
Whew. Yeah. How long did this part last?
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming that you probably did. You ever like make stuff for your bike, or you're just like, I mean, I know you make stuff for other people's bikes, but did you ever make stuff for your own bike and be like, yeah, this will be a great idea, and it's like you put it together and it explodes like the very first time you use it? So
I'm trying to think if there's any examples of that, and I can't really come up with any for my bike. But I know some people that have like made their own hub guards thinking it's going to be a great idea, and then it's just like explodes. I have a buddy that made square pegs at one point.
that sounds like a great idea.
It's not.
really. Maybe octagons, maybe.
The square was just funny because like if you feebled a lot, it would kind of like rock itself to flat for feebles. But then if you tried to double peg anything, it was like stabbing it with a point.
That's awesome. I think I made a hub guard out of a CD once.
And it's a lot of contact area.
That's true. Yeah. I made a bash guard one time out of Lexan. Like that worked out pretty good. I made like a quarter guard that actually held up for quite a while. And actually, after having some discussions with you just recently, I realized that you probably have a much more precision mindset, like where you're talking about like measuring things and stuff like that. Where I'm just kind of like, yo, we're gonna hack this together with an angle grinder. It's gonna be great. It's like, you know.
Yeah, and I like that option as well. I think it just comes with like my background though.
That's true.
Of being in mechanical engineering, that like I tend to not just wing it.
Wing is fun.
Except that wall ride or not even wall ride, that extension out of the satellite a couple years ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah, at the Binghamton Jam at HCS. To be fair, I wasn't heavily involved in that.
Yeah,
I let you guys run with it.
That is true.
I knew what I wanted to do with it, and it's like, yeah, but let's just use the pallet and lean it up on a thing. And I'm like, go for it, I'm out.
Yeah. It held together even after some kid flew across the entire thing and body checked it like 5 times.
Oh, it was more than 5 times.
The piano was fun this year, though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was
It's
cool.
like
That was last minute find.
Yeah. I realized that I still had the ankle brace at full capacity at that point, and it's like before I cut the straps off of it, it's like I needed that little bit more flexibility, and I think if I would have had that, I probably could have hit it a little bit better, but I did almost double peg it. Not quite, but didn't get back in, but it was I'm surprised that piano held up as long as it did. And also the sounds coming out of it was pretty awesome as well.
So the next day when we went to like tear everything down, you know how right on the corner there, it kind of like double steps, so it's like a step down?
Yep.
We shot it down that gap, and it didn't break.
It's a pretty solid piece of,
We were very impressed by that piano.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
So are we saying that for the Heroes and Zeros Jam next year, we find somebody that wants to get rid of a piano for free?
You could just go into my old
all
place.
day long.
Should we see how many pianos we can get?
How many pianos might be the challenge?
That'd be fun, tire ride across all the piano keys.
I like where you're going with this. What if we put piano
Roller
to piano?
coaster piano grinds?
We do piano to piano, yeah, like that, like just,
Yeah.
Ooh. That could be interesting.
I don't know. My dad, is supposed to be paying rent on the house that I grew up in, but I don't think that's happening. But everything I grew up with is still in there. And there's a piano and 2 hutches up there.
I do like the idea of, grabbing a whole bunch of free stuff and, building a bunch of crazy stuff at that park. But also, it's a town park, and I really am not sure what we can get away with. Although we did basically bring, 2 box jumps and a spine last year.
Yeah.
And we have received 0 grief, so I don't know if, people are just looking the other way, or if I just if we're just able to get away with it. By the way, if you're wondering what we're referring to, it's the Heroes and Zeros Jam, which happens here annually. You can go to Brant Moore's channel for some cross promotion of like some footage of that jam, so you can see what Buffalo BMX brings to the table from a level of fun and awesome. And yeah, I would love to do that. I'd love to do like an obstacle course or stuff like that, but I'm just kind of wondering what the legal logistics of that are.
Well, yeah, and like it's sweet that you've been able to at least 3 years in a row now bring in a box jump on a trailer and set up some stuff that's not in the park,
Not park sanctioned.
and have no issues with it. But yeah, like if you push that bar just a little bit too far, you might blow up your whole spot and not even be able to do the jam at that park anymore.
Right. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, well, it's like we'll kind of skate the line as it is. I mean, we kind of fall under the we are raising money for the park, which is kind of cool. So it's like, we have been able to donate some money there every year, which is nice. Almost every year. So for what it's worth, and it seems like it's a pretty positive vibe all around. Everybody seems to have a good time. No one ever really complains. So, I mean, there's people that live right across the street. The cops usually swing by and give a wave, and that's all you can really hope for.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice that it's actually like a pretty regular park in the city too, though, right? It's not a like off in the middle of nowhere sketchy park. It's
right. It's not like one of those parks where it's like
normal
whatever
park.
goes down there goes down. It's in the middle of like Lancaster, which is, hello suburbs. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and to have a bunch of people there is not weird.
yeah.
That's where like you can kind of run into that with some of the like, I don't know what park would be equivalent up here, but I'm going to say Sheridan down in Pittsburgh. If you pack that place with a bunch of people,
It's gonna get noticed.
yeah, it's out of the ordinary that there's people there. Like,
Yeah.
one or two cars being there is completely normal. 50 cars being there is like real weird.
It's probably the equivalent of like the Hamburg Park.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like, I mean, like bigger ramps and stuff, but like it's like popularity and how many people actually go there, probably the same equivalent.
It's in a sketchy part of town, and it's like kind of in the woods. Like,
This one's not in like a sketchy
Yeah.
part of town, but there's just no one ever there. Like it's in a weird part of town, right off the side of a highway. It's kind of hard to get to.
But it would just draw attention if you had that many people there all of a
Yeah.
sudden. So, we have a lot of people there, but I mean, you figure like the week before, like, a local pool place had it basically like, had the pavilion rented out and had a bounce house out there and all kinds of stuff. So,
yeah, there's always just park stuff going on at that park.
true. So,
So I think that works to your advantage in that regard. Like, they're used to pop-ups with like the inflatables or anything like that.
so there have been times where I've debated whether I, go to the town and say like, hey, do you guys want to blah, blah, blah? And it's like, well, they might say no. So it's almost better to just kind of like,
Do it and be like, oh, I thought it was fine.
Yeah. And this park is like, they're real chill with it, as we've been saying, but I remember we were looking at moving it to the Buffalo Skate Plaza down at LaSalle.
oh,
And they were trying to charge like a ridiculous amount of money. for
yeah,
us to be
it was
able to do
money, plus you had to have insurance, plus it was like, which I understand, but it's also like, wow, it's like,
Well, you have insurance for the park. Like,
yeah,
we're just using the park.
yeah.
So, to some degree, you're like, all right, cool, but what if I just have all these people show up at the park anyway? Like,
Yeah, what if I just showed up there with a megaphone and yelled at people to do stuff on any given day? How different would that be from like what we're trying to do?
yeah, and like, I get it when people do like a marathon event in the city. And it's like, okay, well, now we're looking to coordinate and shut down roads or do this. And otherwise, there would be no insurance to cover this activity.
Mm-hmm.
So we're hosting an event. We need this insurance in place. But yeah, it's never really made sense with skate parks. You're like, but you already have the insurance for this park.
Yeah, and I guess that's the weird thing is because like you think like a skate park, it's not like an organized thing necessarily all the time. Like if you're like the baseball diamond next door to it, that baseball diamond, when it is used, is being used by either like the town league or the house league or the whatnot. It's like some league. It's like it's organized. There's all people that have signed up to do the same thing. The skate park is kind of a weird organism that just kind of like, well, today there's 12 skaters there, and tomorrow there's like 3 bikers, 2 kids on scooter. It's like it's just
I'd
kind
relate
of
it closer
there.
to a basketball court.
Yeah.
Where like sometimes you go there and there's like a full-on pickup game and like a bunch of dudes standing around, maybe 2 pickup games going on these courts. And
Yeah,
the other day you got one kid and his dad just shooting baskets.
Right. And it's like, those guys playing like a full-on pickup game, like did they have to like register or like pre-plan it? It's like, no, you showed up and the court was open, so you guys played. It's like,
yeah, you just know that you guys all go on Tuesdays at 6 and
right.
you play your pickup game, and who, if Joe can't show up today, then Joe didn't show up, and you had a bunch of other people, or you played 5-on-4, no big deal. Because it's pickup games, like no one cares.
But then again, I think now that I'm thinking about it, we're, as referring to baseball, it's like, that's more of like an organized sport where it's like, it's team-based and stuff like that, where most of our stuff it's an individual sport, but yet we have fun doing it together. We're parallel play or something, whatever they call it. It's like, we're all doing the same thing, but we don't necessarily have to be doing it together, so.
Or with the same vehicle.
True, yeah. And honestly, it's like I'd rather have a couple people hanging out, because as fun as it is to ride by yourself, it's also demotivating. It's like I'd rather have a bunch of people to like bounce stuff off of, or sit there and kibitz. So
yeah, and sometimes to just tell you straight up, like, don't do that.
Yeah.
That was dumb. It's like, or that's awesome, keep doing it. So
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. All right, let's you mentioned the Heroes and Zeros. You kind of explained what it is, but like, who hosts that? What's your level of involvement in it? And like, what is it?
let's go back to let's go on the Wayback Machine on this one. So, long story short, that park exists because a kid named Bryce Buckholz, who was into BMX, had his Aaron Ross orange soda, Sunday bike, landed up getting hit and killed in a drunk driving accident, like on his bike. Totally sucks. So basically, a lot of like organizations started to like start raising funds for like a safe place for kids to ride their bikes, and et cetera, et cetera. As a lot of that fundraising was getting done, as they were getting closer, they decided to do like a BMX contest, to help raise money and whatnot. As of course, there's no park in the area, so they do it at like the Polish Falcons, and it's like, I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, it's like it's a bunch of suburban moms like getting together a contest, which honestly they did a great job like fundraising. They had a whole bunch of like Chinese auction baskets and stuff like that. And from what I can remember, it was like they really didn't have any ramps. So kind of the point of a contest is to have some ramps. So I had a grind box here, had a friend had a grind box, and we brought a couple other things, and some other people brought some stuff. It was passable. It was just like kind of fun, more so than anything.
It's like a parking lot jam
Pretty
kind of
much,
thing.
yeah. So I mean, they did a good job raising money, though. It was more fundraiser than contest. They did one, I think, at X Wheels.
Yeah, that was after I stopped working there.
That was after, and
yeah.
I remember kind of just helping out and judging a little bit. I rode, but it was just more or less I was just there to just kind of amp people up, and then to help them judge and stuff like that. And just basically when the park finally got built, they kind of like they did like a contest kind of thing, and then, but at that point, it seemed like a lot of the kids that were in it, this is going 3, 4, 5 years out now. They start to kind of fade away from BMX, as kids do. And there was like that danger of this not staying on.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I landed up talking to the mom that was kind of mostly involved with it, and said, like, do you mind if I take it over and just kind of run it and do whatever? It's like, I'm not going anywhere. It's like I understand that if your kid's not riding BMX anymore, this is not something you're going to want to do every year. I'm like, with your blessings, I'll just take it and run with it. So I was just doing it as like the Memorial Jam, and then Jason Tober landed up coming up with the idea of doing like a Heroes and Zeros Jam, kind of Western New York, kind of like a homecoming, if you will. And I think we were planning on running them as separate events. And
I think they were separate events the first year, weren't they?
I think at one point they were. I think because the Bryce Jam was more like it was like a competition. We were doing like beginner, intermediate, expert kind of thing, which it's just what you did. That was your competitions. You're charging $5 admission or entry fee, and that was getting weird. And it was like you had kids that would show up and not ride because they didn't have $5, and it's like. So we just decided at one point, and I can't even remember how far back. Just we called this one the 5th annual. I don't even know if it's the 5th annual or the 4th or whatever, but we just decided to kind of combine them and just call it just the the Western New York Heroes and Zeros Jam. And
then there was an issue with that.
There's a slight issue with that, but luckily we have a veteran on our side, so we're good. So. I can't remember. I think we just called. What do we call it? It's Heroes and Zeros Jam.
Yeah,
now?
it's just Heroes and Zeros. After
we
that,
throw the Western New York in there every once in a while just to piss people off. But it's basically just an excuse to have a whole bunch of BMXers like descend on the park. It doesn't matter if you're good or if you suck. It's like we just want everybody to come out and have a good time and hang out. It's like, and it's been remarkably successful. It's like it's less competition and more just like, hey, everybody come out and jam. It's like we've gone to like a mini jam format where it's like we're doing a rail jam over there. If you want to get over.
Yeah,
we're doing
if
high
you
air
want
over
to be
here.
competitive in your specialized facet of BMX, then here's your time to shine.
Yeah, and it's just it lands up just being more fun than anything. So we usually sell pizza and water and try to raise some money. It's like this year we raised a little over $200. I'm like, okay, for something slapped together, not too bad. One year we did really good. We raised like almost $800. Last year we didn't even break even. So it's like basically just trying to cover the cost of stuff. I usually plan almost everything.
Besides the actual jams, I think Tober just like you give him the mic and he just kind of does that.
Yeah, Tober. I mean, I have help from people, and I'm ever so grateful. But like reaching out to sponsors in the past, people have helped reach out to sponsors. But locally, we've got 2 bike shops in the area that are heavy into BMX or like more involved. Eric's, Cycle Works, and Terry's. Basically, I mean, for this area, for a place that you can walk into and either talk to somebody that knows anything about BMX or like reach out through me. Kink and Blackout have been super supportive over the years. I mean, even before I was involved, like sending out boxes of stuff. Ricky at Merritt always sends something out. We actually had some local sponsors this year. We had a local coffee shop, Blackheart, Roth Rock Coffee, which is Jamie Beswick's coffee place, landed up hooking us up with some stuff. Go Bike from Buffalo came out this year and was doing repairs, which was really awesome just to have like, a pop-up where kids could get like, a tube fixed or something tweaked out. And Colin helped us out immensely, which was really, really cool. And just, those of us that are a little bit older feel it's like our way to kind of give back and kind of, show the youth like, hey, here's some fun stuff you can do. I mean, we had people from Albany come out to a skate park jam. It's kind of cool when you realize that you're pulling people from all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Ben and John came out. They're from PA.
Yeah, it's
okay. I didn't see that they were out there, but I saw that like Dylan and some of those dudes from like the Syracuse, Albany, whatever, that Utica.
Yeah.
All those dudes made it out, hung out.
That was pretty gnarly. And it was, like I said, it's cool to see people that you haven't seen in a while, like pop out of the woodwork. Like Zach, like a couple years ago, just like, showed up after moving back up north. And it was like, I remember riding with him when he was 15. Now he's like in his 30s. And I'm like, where'd hell the time go?
And you mentioned it, but like Brant was out from Worcester.
Yep.
So Ohio.
Yeah, he's documented it the last 2 years in a row, and I am beyond grateful for that to have video record of it. It's just...
I wasn't able to make it to this one.
No excuses.
I wasn't making one. I just didn't come.
Homeowner.
The last 2 years before that, I made it up.
Which is awesome. I appreciate that. So, And like I said, people have fun with it, and it's like that's the end goal of it is like get everybody together for a really good day of BMX and have everybody feel good about it. So
speaking of the like coordinating sponsors and like that, you've pretty much been the only one doing it the last couple of years or whatever. That's to your advantage. That makes life way easier.
yeah.
I'm speaking from experience on that one.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, this year I did reach out for some more help in other regards. I had somebody else doing the like the flyer work and stuff like that because it's like I just suck at that kind of thing. So
Yeah, I did it the 2 years prior, but I was just on the road so much this time that like I just didn't find time to do it ever.
yeah, Josh's girl Brandy, she did that for me. It was awesome. Just took the stress right out of it. Luke bringing like a spine was awesome, and just having the other guys kind of show up and just kind of help. Like Josh's brother Tony ran the stand for me, which was awesome. So it took the stress of like worrying about that. Dennis got pizza and stuff this year. It was like, okay, cool. I didn't have to do that. So, but yeah, it's like I can understand like doing it by yourself is awesome because it's like it's easy and streamlined, but also having a committee, just having bodies to help is huge.
Yeah, when it comes to jam day, for sure, people to help. When it comes to the planning of sponsors, is purely all I was talking about. Like, that part is easier to not be like, well, I already talked to them, or like, yeah, we communicated the wrong info, or like, well, they sent me the logo, let me forward it to you, and like, it's just,
Yeah.
if I just deal with it, they know to expect you kind of like every year. Like, it's not weird when you're like, hey, we're doing this again. It's weird if a different person contacts them every year.
I'm always worried about not having enough stuff, and then I always have plenty of stuff. And you always worry about like, oh my gosh, does anybody even show up? And then everybody shows up. So like,
I always look at most events, and BMX events are all the same, but people that come aren't going to notice the little things like that. Like, if there wasn't a ton of stuff and you just made it work and you gave out slimmer prize packages and threw less stuff out at the end, people aren't going to be like, I don't know, they were pretty slim back this year. I don't think they'll even notice it. In the hype of the day and the fun that's happening, I don't think anyone cares. And I always say the same thing to people like that worry about getting stuff perfect for their wedding day or something like that. You're like, dude, if something doesn't go to plan,
you're
the only one that's going to notice it. Just laugh it off and enjoy your day.
And that's the thing. We had a blast. I mean, we did a high jump contest, which went better than I possibly thought it could have. It was just like, we landed a break in the high jump bar. We taped it back together, and like these guys were going just, navel height or, navel high and higher on their hops. It was insane. It was like just watching these dudes jump stuff, and, you didn't need much more than like, hey, we're high airing on the quarter pipe.
Yeah.
What do you got? We're doing lip lord tricks. Do something cool.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't need to be like, who's the best at something. It's just like, get out there and have some fun. So, and
I think that's where like you were saying about people showing up to a contest and everyone just wants to watch, no one wants to ride.
Yeah.
And you're like, there's got to be a better way, which there is. It's the jam format that,
and that's what we realized
has become the norm.
It was like, the competition was interesting, but I felt like you weren't getting as much participation out of it because, okay, everybody's doing like 30-second runs or whatever like that, and it gets kind of boring after a while. And plus, also, if you're saying like, hey, put in for the pot or whatever like that of $5, and then it's like, some kid shows up and he's just there because he's there. It's like, get out there and just ride, man. It's like, I don't care if you have money or not. It's like anybody can hit the rail, or everybody can participate in a game of foot down. It's like, it doesn't matter how good or how bad you are. Go out there and try to knock somebody else off their bike. So, we got some lightning going on out there. If you can see, it's pretty cool.
Check the YouTube.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you can swing it that way, you can just see out the front window. That's cool. Yeah, there you go. Huh. That'll make it interesting on the ride back home. So,
Yeah, what time is it?
it is exactly 6:38
Okay.
p.m., not a.m. We are
Thanks for the clarification.
we are recording this in the evening because if you're here at 6:38 in the morning, it'd be really weird.
Especially to be 2 hours into a podcast.
True. Yeah.
And if played basketball.
Well, we only play it in the dark. We don't want people to see us playing, so
It's like worse than like the obnoxious dad neighbor on a Saturday morning when you're just trying to sleep and they're out mowing the lawn, just like basketball at like 5 a.m.
It's the beauty of being out here is I'm not in a suburb, so I don't have to worry about people like maintaining their lawns at OS 30 on a Saturday.
You should make a little contraption that just dribbles a basketball like over and over. Just at like regular height so that it's at like just regular bouncing pace. But it never stops.
I mean, honestly, I can't think of the last time I played basketball that wasn't like with my kids. So, but I am very mindful of my neighbor, though. It's like I only have like one that's really close. But since I have a bike that has squeaky as F brakes, it's like, if I'm riding in my own driveway and stuff like that, I try not to like get that session in at like 11 o'clock at night where it's like, squeaky brakes the whole time. So that probably felt really good to whoever's wearing headphones just now. I realize, should we get the brakes and just squeak them real loud? Like
Maybe.
Just hold the mic up.
I can just mount it right next to your brakes.
just not tell them when it's going to happen. Just all of a sudden, somewhere in the podcast, there's just brake squeal. Or maybe it already happened.
Maybe I'll just edit it in at the very, very, very beginning so that as soon as this starts, it's just like right in their ear.
It's a beautiful sound.
And I'll hype it up a little bit and boost the decibel on it and make it extra loud.
Thunder? Is that shotguns?
I can't tell. I thought it was fireworks at first.
Yeah.
You guys are sitting closer to the window, so if anything happens, you guys are going first. So
Cool.
Sweet.
Set us up.
Kind of like the setup in here. The feng shui is really good. So it's got this nice triangle going on. So
Yep. And then we don't have to like be super awkwardly close to one another because I've got a mile of cord that I bring with me.
I mean, that doesn't mean that we aren't awkwardly close to each other. So
I mean, we might be touching.
It's just the Eiffel Tower. The bike tower.
got to check the Instagram for that one. Got to dial back. Oh God, that's going
August of last year.
Wow, the fact that you knew that off the top of your head really kind of disturbs me.
If you just tag me in that or like share it as a DM, I'll just download it and share it with this.
The only reason why I knew it was like somewhere around there is just because that's around the time we had the jam last year.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I can slide this into your DMs. Hang on. So.
All right.
Clever. Not really. Yeah, no, that was a while back. That was May of 2018. What the hell?
Damn. Never mind.
And it has been sent. I think that's you. So, if not,
Yeah, I just felt a nice little vibration in my pants.
Or you want me to keep sending things?
Yeah.
I'll just keep Snapchatting him.
Yeah, you got me wanting to charge up my old phone and like get my Snapchat thing going and see how far behind I am on James's stories.
Should I name drop you right now?
No, it's whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
Who's gonna Snapchat me?
It's the same as your like Instagram handle, just with the period in between, like the Miss Kevin.
Really?
Miscellaneous, yeah.
Oh shit. Forgot about that.
Like it's really that easy?
MISC stands for miscellaneous.
Yeah.
So, which stemmed from the the garage bike biz for a while, which is miscellaneous debris bikes, which miscellaneous debris came from a Primus album. So yeah, it's the 47 removals of that. So that's where it all stems from.
Yeah, we talked prior to doing this episode about just going out in your garage and talking about each individual piece as if as if everyone watching this could see instead of just the people on YouTube.
I think that may need to happen.
I think it might still be a good option.
Would we be able to do that remotely? Like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm kind of curious because that if I mic myself up or like that and had some sort
I mean,
of like,
technically we could record it through Skype. And I just need to get my new studio set up because my computer isn't fully ready to go. But I should be able to Skype you and record the Skype convo with us side by side or your screen, whatever.
That'd be cool. Yeah, that I can bring the tote bins in here and just kind of go through stuff and pull things out. Like, check this out. What does this do? Why does this peg have a roller on it? It's like.
Do you have any of those roller pegs in there?
You want me to grab one so you can see it? We can show everybody.
We could do that after too, but
Sure, that can be done. So
those things are cool. They don't work, but they're cool.
yeah, I say it doesn't work. I want to see the what would you say it was, a mechanical engineer, right?
Yeah.
I want to see like his brain potentially explode, upon the ridiculousness of what I'm going to put into his hand.
I've seen them, and I had at that point tried to reason out like the design behind it and the fact that like if you were doing a feeble grind, it would be trying to roll inward on itself and cause more friction than it's alleviating.
Yeah.
But it could work.
Yeah, or you could just grind something.
Now, would it help if I explained that they are also made of aluminum? So, if you can see, if those of you that aren't on YouTube, if you can see the look on Andy's face right now, it's hilarious.
It's not really surprising.
It's almost like his collective mechanical engineering brain just kind of just.
It's like, why are you doing this?
Why? There is no reason. So.
Well, it keeps it light, but then you add more materials on, which brings it back to not being that light. And if the core is aluminum and the body is aluminum, then you're just gonna get like heat buildup, and it's gonna expand and not roll anyway.
That whole hey, let's make this out of aluminum so it's lighter. Remind me the next time to bring down the Kung Fu. Aluminum flatland frame, awesome. Every other component that went on it, 400 pounds. So you somehow land up with an aluminum bike that weighs just as much, if not more, than a fulcrum ollie.
I'm pretty sure my aluminum race bike that I have weighs just as much as my freestyle bike with 4 pegs on it.
Is it a race bike with a one-piece crank? Or what's the...
Originally, it had one-piece cranks. It's a Schwinn Pro Stock 2.
Ooh, Pro Stock.
98.
It's the Pro Stock 2, so it's not as good as the Pro Stock 1, or is it like... How did the numbering convention go?
I don't remember what the progression was.
Was it the lower the number was better, or the higher the number was better?
Don't remember.
Because some companies went in opposite directions. It was like the Pro Stock 1. Yeah, that's like the entry level. But if you got the Pro Stock 4, holy crap! It's like, yeah, some of the others were.
Well, yeah, it was like the back trails. The X1 was your entry level. The X2 was your middle, and X3 was your high end, I believe. But the Schwinn, I think the Pro Stock was the premium one.
Okay.
I think the Pro Stock 2 was maybe the middle ground.
Okay.
I don't know if there was a Pro Stock 3. Funny thing is, I have the original literature and everything that came with it.
Oh, nice.
Which is like a animated cartoon thing with Brian Foster and
I think
Blue Falcon stuff and everything.
You make me want to go either up into the attic or out to the garage because I know I have a Schwinn catalog that everything is drawn like a comic book.
Yeah. I've got the one that came with that bike from that bike shop when we bought it.
Man, we are definitely gonna have to dig into the archives at one point. So get you up here on a snowy day and build a fire and fireplace and just have at it. So.
But that bike it's just so heavy for being an aluminum race bike.
It's how is it possible that this bike is that heavy?
I mean, the aluminum is super thick. That race
it's
bike
lightweight.
I got that bike brand new in '98 when I was 10. And I would say that was my first real bike,
Okay.
but I'd been riding in the trails prior to that. Just really janky, sketchy things. But I tried racing after I got that, and I hated it. But I bought it, and I think I put Big Cheese cranks on it.
Nice.
Whatever that brand was.
It was just probably just a catalog brand. You know, it was like, you know, they didn't actually design anything. They just said like, hey, we're gonna market a bunch of stuff. You know, they had that Imperial Light sprocket and like a couple of little weird things. You know.
I think it was like between those or Torker cranks
Okay.
when I was looking at that point.
I think my first bike, well, aside from the banana seat, like Quicksilver or whatever that it was, that I pretty much rode forever as a kid. First real BMX bike, I was working at Dick's Sporting Goods, and we had a Mongoose Solution Pro Comp. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to get a BMX bike. And that's what I got. It was like aluminum frame. Oh, it's light. You know, didn't realize, like, oh, it's a race bike, you know, until I went to go put pegs on it. And I was like, oh, this isn't going to work. So landed up with a Venom Double X Pro through, like, the Pro Form deals we used to be able to get there. So all chrome. Like, every bit that's chrome was chrome. Like, the grips were even clear so you could see the chrome through the grips. You know, Diatech 990s front and back, big-ass pegs and stuff like that. That was an interesting rig. Rode Diamondbacks for a while, and then just kind of eventually just dialed into, you know, what worked. You know.
I like that clear grip thing that happened in like that 98, 99
Stickers under the
era.
grips, yeah.
Yeah, with the stickers under the grips, and you could just change them out.
Yeah, they get yellow pretty quick though. So
Yeah, I mean, let's just clear the air. Any grip that's not black either changes color on you real bad, gets really sticky, or dry rots
yeah,
right away. Tires too. If they're not black, they just kind of suck. Which is unfortunate. I like my colored tires. Me and my old Primo walls.
oh yeah. I got some hanging right over your head right now. They're up in the attic on the McNeil. It's got the green Primo walls. So. And even just sitting, they're starting to change color. So
Yep. I've got a pair of green ones in my apartment. I might have a pair of red ones unused, but I think they're used. Probably got like 6 pair of black ones.
Yeah.
I might have some blue ones.
yeah, that was a pretty tough tire. That was
The best tire.
nearly indestructible. Now, if they just made it in 2.4, we'd be good to go.
Nope. Nope.
Harkening back to our previous discussion,
The-
not on the podcast. So,
1.85 is ideal. I will live with the 2.1s. If anyone has a local shop that has Primo walls in it, though, let me know, and I will probably DM them on Instagram.
I think Eric's had some. At least the last time. Oh, hello. Is that the chime that means that it's time to quit, or that we're going to be overtaken by carbon monoxide?
Maybe the second one.
Okay. I've been feeling a little sleepy, but you know. No, I know I picked up some from Eric at least a year or two, maybe longer ago, because he had a whole bunch of the Primo walls and Primo V monsters.
I bought some of his Primo walls off of him at the
At the
Western
Jam?
New York Heroes and
Oh
Zeros
yes,
Jam.
the Western New York version of it.
Oh
so.
yeah, that was the year where the crap went down with that lady.
That was 2 years ago. Yeah, that was interesting. So James handled it in a remarkably professional manner. I am very proud of him, and I told him that if he ever has an interview where they ask a question in regards to conflict resolution, that he needs to bring that up, because you handled that in the finest way possible.
Well,
Meanwhile, Zach, on the other hand, took the low road, and I applaud him.
I mean, just so that like they understand, there's a veterans organization around here that's called Western New York Heroes, and they saw our flyer and they were like, "Why are you using our name without our permission?"
Oh, wait. They let us know that, what,
Like 2 days beforehand?
2 days before, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah. In the heavily promoted, scene of BMX jams that, all over radio, TV, and stuff like that. We basically had like paper flyers, and it was on Instagram.
Yeah, Facebook and all that. So she messaged me on Facebook and was like, "Why are you using our name and who's zeros so we can notify them that, they're using."
That was the key. Who are zeros?
Yeah.
No. Ma'am, the event is called.
Yeah, it's just a phrase, heroes and zeros, and we happen to be from Western New York. We're not trying to use your name, but if she like threatened to sue and everything, I'm like, if that's going to be the case, like we'll drop the Western New York, we'll just call it heroes and zeros, like. Not a big deal.
But it's also 2 days beforehand.
Yeah, I was like, we'll drop it next year. It's kind of too late now. It's 2 days beforehand. The flyer's already out everywhere. Like, we'll drop it next year, but like, whatever. And she responded the day of the event.
I think at like 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
We're running it at noon.
Yeah, the day of the event, and it was like, okay, that works with us. And then, like, our buddy Zach, he's a veteran, and he, like, heard about it and, like, just went off on her on, like, Messenger. And, like...
We won't get into details, but, man, it's like... I was like, you know what? You go at it, bro. You served your country. We're grateful for it.
Now serve your scene.
Yeah, I say, and he served the scene hard.
Yeah,
I think James landed up.
Yeah.
What was your statement? He does not represent us. He is just a passionate fan.
Yeah. It's like he's a veteran who's also very passionate about what we do, and like he doesn't represent us at all. He just caught wind of what was going on and took it very personally.
Yeah, I just changed something. I hit a button with my fat dumb hand.
Did you change a setting, or did you shut us off?
I don't know. It hit auto level, whatever that means. So apparently we're auto leveled now.
Okay.
Question for you from something you said quite a while ago. You started riding at 19.
Oof. Yeah. Well, got into BMX.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I blame that on working at Dick's Sporting Goods, starting to work in the bike section, and realizing that my Murray Blackwater or whatever the hell mountain bike that I had was like, oh, that's cool, and then kind of got was rolling on a mountain bike for a little bit, but then this BMX stuff seemed kind of neat, and it was like I got some VHS tapes that we had on clearance, and one of them was No Beer, No Sex, Just BMX. It was a lot of Canadian riders. It was basic bikes and whatnot. Jason Brown and Dave Asato and stuff like that. Andrew Ferris, and just watching some of that stuff. I was like, yeah, this is kind of cool. This looks neat. It was decided to kind of give it a go, and wow, that's gonna get annoying if that keeps happening. So I don't know if anybody else did that.
What's really amazing about it is that prior to doing this podcast, you changed 2 batteries out of 2 different smoke alarms. Now you've got a third chirping.
It's like they know. It's collectively. Yeah, it just kind of... And that was the weird thing is starting that late. It's who do you hang around with? Who do you learn this stuff from? Because everybody that's at 19 is already either really good or done.
Especially at that time frame where... Because it would have been, what, 98, 99-ish, somewhere in that?
Yeah, 99-ish era, give or take. So it was
you didn't have people that were...
Yeah, there was no social media where you could
20s.
say, hey, where's older people that do this,
Yeah, no, I think that would be really tough to come up in.
Yeah, it's I rode a lot of flatland just because that was kind of fun. I used to ride it, on my break at lunch. There were a couple of people that rode, but they were really good, so it was kind of intimidating. There was Union Trails, which was awesome, but also immensely intimidating, just because not knowing anything.
Yeah.
Luckily, there was a place called Bikes, Blades, and Boards out towards Niagara Falls, which was really cool. I used to go there, and then just I don't know, just kind of stubbornly stuck with it. So, and here we are, 2019, and my skills are mediocre on level with someone starting out, and we're good to go. So I figure another 20 years,
Isn't there a picture of you rollerblading somewhere?
Shut up. Yeah. No, that was the start of the extreme sports. Was I did rollerblade for a hot minute. So, but
so did I. So
you didn't come into it completely blind from the extreme sports side.
No. So I had I think I was, I had seen Rad at least a couple of times. So, and then finally got myself a bootleg copy of it and was like, this is what I want to do with my life. I want to get my SATs. At that point, it was already too late. I had already taken my SATs. But, figured racing probably wasn't the way to go at it. But, the guys that were doing the stuff at the beginning credits and the end credits, that looked like a hell of a lot of fun. So.
I mean, I don't want to, talk down on Rad, but that's really like the only reason to watch the movie anyway, right?
It's not the greatest BMX movie of all time, but it is one of the only BMX movies of all time. That or BMX Bandits with, Nicole Kidman. So if you were to take your pick, I don't know. I mean, Send Me an Angel is kind of like,
yeah.
That's basically like, if every BMX guy, like, that song comes on, we tear up, If you don't know what I'm talking about, do yourself a favor. Just YouTube, like, that scene from Rad with Send Me an Angel, and you'll know what I mean. So that doesn't move you to tears. You're dead inside.
Yeah, it's still not that good.
No.
I'm going to get a bunch of heat for that one, but...
That's okay. I don't know. Like, I mean, like the kids nowadays, they don't have that weird awkward phase that BMX went through, whereas like the 80s phase or the 90s phase or the early 2000s phase or the emo phase that Brant's still kind of stuck in. But but yeah, it's like I'm just kind of I mean, actually, they're probably in their own weird phase right now where, like, they're going to look back, like, 5-10 years from now and be like, oh, shit, man, why are we wearing those Dickies and those stupid hats? Or,
I think it's like, those were particular times that it was, I would say, self-aware in the moment of the weird trends that were happening. And I think sometimes you don't see it till later.
Yeah.
You're like, looking back and you're like, wait a minute, remember like 5 years ago we were all doing this? And those were just very clear, like everyone had girl jeans for a little while.
Everybody had a Castro hat. It's like
Prior to that, you were either riding in Lee pipes or, what are the other ones? Jinko.
Oh, just hoping that your chain wasn't gonna eat your pants.
I remember at like the start of the emo like girl pant phase, or not even the start, like actually towards the end, when Levi's jeans first came out with their 511s and all their different colors and everything. They were like Levi's first skinny jean, and they were all like dark red or like just.
We have no idea
colors.
what you're talking about, James, because we weren't in that phase. So we were old men by that point. So
my body type is not conducive to skinny jeans and color pants. So even though I was there and present, I could never fall into that category.
I'm going to make it my life goal to get you into skinny jeans just for one edit.
Oh, I'll put them on. I'm not afraid. But just know it's not pretty.
Well, they're stretchy now. So you got like that, as you can see, those are watching on the YouTube. You can see me doing that. It's like It's like that's the beauty of it. Now you throw a little bit of Lycra in there, and it's like, yeah, they're skinny, but they flex. It's not like you didn't have to like hose down your jeans in order to get into them. So
Ultra bulge.
Oh, I mean the Genko phase was kind of weird. That was really awkward.
I just missed that one.
You're lucky. I'm just glad social media wasn't around because it's like I don't have to, I'll pull out the picture for Andy because I know exactly where it is right now of like big jeans. So. I think it was like a 30 waist at that point. I'm pretty sure some of the bottoms of my jeans were like, 32 to 36, or better.
So I remember that phase, and I liked my baggier jeans, but again, body type considered. But I couldn't tolerate them being that baggy, and I actually wore shin guards all the time when I was younger like that. Because I would roll my pant legs in on themselves like I'm doing right now and put my shin guard on over it just to hold them down and keep it all contained. And I caught a whole bunch of crap from a lot of dudes about, like, why do you wear your shin guards on the outside of your pants when they're that big and, like, you could fit clearly just put them under? And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not wearing them to protect my shins. Wearing them to keep my pants out of my
wearing them to
chain.
protect my jeans. Jean guards.
I used to do the bandana trick, just keep the rubber band trick, but usually I just did the bandana where I just keep the knot out to the side.
That falls right into that like emo phase and
right there.
skinny jean phase.
I'm trying to think. Like I used to.
This is before the skinny jeans.
Used to wear like the Harbinger, like like knee pads and stuff like that, and then I switched to like these knee gaskets, which were basically. This was before they started doing all those like slim fitting knee guards. It was like basically like a knee support that actually had like big a big gel padded front on them. I used to wear those all the time, and those worked out really good. Then I switched to like the G-form stuff, and those were pretty dope.
Well, it was the Lee pipes that had the like
have the
metal
built-in?
clamp, right? It came with them.
It did?
I think so. It had like a little metal ankle clamp to go around your
That's awesome.
pants to keep them confined when you were riding.
Wait,
and
was
then
it that, or did it have a button? It had like a little strap and a button.
maybe it was a strap and a button. I don't
wanna
remember, but
You got me googling Lee pipes right now. So.
yeah, I know that they had some mechanism that was like above and beyond what Jinko was doing to keep your pants out of your chain when you were riding. But then you undid it so that you could have your cool baggy pants.
Yeah, we're going hard on the Google search here, and this is not
Or
helping.
tent pants.
This is not helping.
Oh, jeez. Oh, I remember seeing those only like a handful of times. It was always at the Extreme Wheels concerts too. Like, way past their time. Like, that's when like skinny jeans had already been like established and everything, and then you would like just look over and there'd be some goth dude in tent pants.
Yeah, but you know what? Here's the real key. Hot Topic is still in business, and all those other places are closed.
Yeah. Hot Topic.
So maybe tent pants were right all along.
Yeah.
See, everyone says Hot Topic is where trends go to die, but I think they live on forever there.
Yeah.
They're doing something right because, like you said, they are still in business. And oh, there it is! I found them. Yeah, vintage USA 90s Lee Pipes BMX pants. Yeah, they did. They had a button.
Yep.
It was like this, like that. Look at how crazy that is. These are the BMX specific ones. As you
know.
you can see.
They had BMX specifically pipes.
Like,
That's
look at
the
this.
thing.
You can actually see there's like a guard for like where you're. For where the chain would go and everything like that. Now, granted, this is taking into account that everyone was riding right-hand drive at that point, before like left side drive was a thing. So these only have the guard on the right leg. But my God, if I can get my hands on a pair of these. I'm looking on eBay right now. Please just bear with me as I dig into this. I'm really curious as what these things are going for.
I want to find
that
those
is not helping.
shoe
Oh,
inserts.
$60. Jesus Christ.
That's not really any worse than a standard pair of Levi's right now.
Yeah, but okay, where do you buy your Levi's?
If you go to like JCPenney or
hell
something,
no.
they're
No,
like
no, no.
50, 60 bucks.
No, he helps out an overstock place. He can get like
Let me tell you. Here's what you do.
You know, where do I buy my pants? I'm buying Dickies from Walmart.
Yeah. You go to TJ Maxx or Marshalls. You don't give a shit about what brand the jeans are. You find a pair on the clearance rack that fit, and you call it a day. So, but those are really freaking cool, and they're my size, 32-30. Oh, that's a lot of money. $60 just for a
Just
joke.
to put them in your BMX collection.
I know.
order them and get them next day shipping and wear them for Halloween and just say I'm a BMX dude from the 90s.
The problem is that's more than I think I would pay for most vintage BMX stuff at this point.
Yeah, but all right, let's put this into perspective.
They get
right?
Ryan Nyquist and Chad DeGroot to sign them.
BMX parts will last.
These still have
especially
the tag.
those.
These still have the tag on them.
Finding pants from an era that are not completely thrashed and destroyed, let alone having a tag on them.
What bothers me is seeing the price tag says $39.95, and knowing that I'm paying $60 plus another $6.50 for shipping. That just
But then
that
again,
doesn't-
back then
that does
you
not
could buy
sit-
a whole shopping cart's worth of food for $20.
that does not sit well with me. Sorry. Although they do have a sweet like BMX like logo on the Lee Pipes BMX logo on the butt. Oh, dude, that's
I don't like to influence too much, but I think you should do it.
well. Let's put it this way: if you're listening to this podcast and you think that this is a good idea, we're gonna set up a GoFundMe for $66.50. The money will strictly be used to buy this pair of Lee Pipes BMX jeans, men's 32x30 retro stone ankle snaps, new with tags.
You might want to get them before someone just swipes them out from under
Right.
you.
Someone's going to hear that post and just say, "Ha, fuck you, Kevin."
Yeah, any extra money will be used for other charitable means. You guys, if you want to decide what it is, go ahead.
Brant's RV.
Brant's RV. So front rise, inseam. Leg opening at the ankle is only 11 inches. Sorry, 11. Yeah, that's not bad. Wow. That is pretty gnarly. I'm going to have to see. Damn, I found a new thing to obsess over. Great, thanks a lot. Damn you, podcast.
I want those little shoe insert things that you showed me. I
Yeah,
didn't even know were
yeah.
a thing.
So, do you remember? I know they were Ruben's Etnies shoe, and I can't ever remember what the Terrania, I think, was the shoe. Etnies Terrania.
Okay.
And it had a little foam ankle insert that you just Velcroed in and pulled out for tail whip. Like,
So if you're doing a tail whip, put it in, and when you're done with your tail whip, you take it out?
yeah, while in the air.
That's
But-
pretty cool.
It was like a nice little pad thing, and it was, you could put it on either side of your, like, left or right shoe.
It's like
But
the precursor to
It's like a little thing that I'm kind of surprised died, and it's like something people could probably sell.
Can we speak of like how BMX shoes have basically become just hot freaking garbage at this point?
What? Okay, let me ask you a better question. What BMX shoes?
Okay. Skate/riding shoes in general.
Yeah, they're
Like,
all
what-
trash.
What happened to like stuff that basically would last more than like 3 months?
Do you remember whenever you would look at shoes, you made sure they had triple stitch toe caps because glued toe caps suck.
Mm-hmm.
And
Cup sole, cup.
yeah,
sole.
now it's like every single shoe you go look at, you might have one stitch, but usually not.
No, I am just very disappointed in most of the shoes that I have attempted to ride in the last couple of years. It's like the last decent pair I had was an old pair of Low-Tex, like before they switched over at one point. And that's probably what it was. It was the triple stitching. It was the cup sole. Like I wore them to the point that I almost went through the sole. I have had, like in the last couple pairs of shoes that I've had, they're lasting a summer, and I'm not riding every day.
I've been very happy with my Adidas Superstars. And I've got a couple of reasons. Like, I was not stoked on buying Adidas shoes. Never have been stoked on buying Adidas shoes. Something feels wrong to me about buying Adidas shoes. But I hate a flimsy shoe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like a thin toe on my shoe for foot jam tricks.
So that
It always,
that
like,
rubber cap that they got
Pile
going on?
drives your toe in and causes issues. Yeah, that rubber toe cap, and they're stitched. It's single, might be double stitched. But it's a stitched toe cap, stitched outsole, and it has that big rubber toe cap on it, and the bottoms are a little bit more rigid than some others.
Yeah,
So
the last
I've been real happy with them.
the last two pairs that I had that were like a vulcanized sole, I just decimated. Just because of probably like some of the tricks I do, it just puts a lot of pressure on that area, and they just blew out. The pair I have currently are a cup sole, which that's holding up better, but they're actually starting to tear because there's not enough stitching. And
Yep.
it's like I paid almost full boat for these things because it's like the last thing I want to do is spend money on shoes, and it's like, but I spent like a good like almost $80 on a pair of shoes that I bought maybe in June, and I'm hoping to get through the year on them. It's like, I mean, I remember some of the Vans that I had like back in the day, or like you trounce those suckers. It's like, you know.
I've never had that experience with a pair of Vans.
Really?
I've never had a good experience with
These
them.
were like when they actually had like BMX specific ones, like they had like the Corey Nastasio like shoe,
Yeah,
which was like mostly plastic, which honestly I wish I could go back to because it had this huge like plastic sides, and actually I think for some of the grind tricks I do that would actually work out really good. But yeah, I had some other ones that just they were just beefy. So
yeah,
shoes were beefy.
I've always had good luck with Vans. Vans is coming back with the BMX shoe, and I have the Scotty Kramer ones now, like
but
BMX specific.
no cup sole though. It's like they're still vulcanized.
Yeah.
So you catch the side of that on your peg, it's toast. So.
Yeah.
But then again, that doesn't affect most people. So
the Superstars, they have two options. They have a Volk option and a regular. I don't think I've had any vulcanized.
They have a mid top.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, I like that little extra up on the ankle. I wonder why. So
you know, I've been back and forth on the mid top thing and high top. I like a mid top, but at this point, like I've got the space brace, and that does way more than a mid top ever has.
Yeah.
Granted, I don't wear it. I only wear it after I've rolled my ankle, and you're like, haha, perfect. But I really like that as opposed to the mid top now.
See, I've always ridden like a mid. Actually, the Etnies Numbers mid, I loved those. Those were great.
Yep.
Those held up. Like those I used to beat the hell out of. Can't find them anymore, and they don't make that style anymore. But the that space brace, I was using a space brace like kind of thing, but it was actually with that cross strapping was too much. It was taking too much of my mobility away. So I cut the straps off, and just having the sleeve with the lace up gives me that extra confidence.
Yeah.
And it gives me that little bit of protection because you've got screws in your ankle too. There's that ever-present fear that you're gonna catch something and like tear your skin right through the screw. I guess I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But
no. I mean, I haven't torn it through, but I've like clipped it on either like a rail that I put my foot down next to, or even like walking through my house, my coffee table. And when you clip that screw, you like flash yourself and see stars for a second because, man, it goes right through the bone. Mm-hmm. That is rough.
Yeah, I did it in the garage once, and I landed up like on the ground, just basically just like, all right, this is where I'm dying. So, we pause.
Yeah. I don't know.
So once the conversation hits Lee Pipe 90s jeans.
Maybe we need to just step back and reflect on ourselves for a little while, and then do an episode 2, maybe.
Okay, so we just
Tonight.
We just sit here and silently reflect for the next 30 seconds.
No.
No, but I'm definitely up for a part 2, and we'll do like a full archive dive if I think about it, and I'll plan ahead. We can bust out the biggest fishbone collection on the East Coast. Maybe some of like the old, we'll bust out some of the old ride magazines and the catalogs and stuff like that, and just nerdgasm over that. So
I told James on our drive up and asked him if he'd been there yet, but next time you're in Pittsburgh, you need to check out the Bicycle Museum.
Okay.
It's called Bicycle Heaven, and it's a shop and museum.
Yeah, I think I've seen some pictures of that place.
And it's pretty wild. Like, it's not BMX specific, although they've got a lot of stuff there.
We had one here in Buffalo in Orchard Park for a while, and regrettably, it is gone. I was lucky enough to see it once, but really wish I would have taken more advantage of it. But it was the same thing. It was actually not a BMX museum. It was a like a bicycle museum. There was literally everything. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it kind of got like sold off and sectioned off and whatnot. But would have been neat to see it stay here. But yeah, I would definitely be down to check that out. That sounds like fun. So
Yeah, it's really cool. I've checked it out on a couple of occasions, but no one ever really wants to go. It's one of those things. It's like every time it comes up, everyone just wants to actually go do bike things. Like, that's cool, but like we could also do this for the 45 minutes it's going to take to walk through it.
right, and that's the thing. It's like you have to find a very specific audience that actually wants to participate in something like that.
Yeah.
So I think you found your audience. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that you're into the nerding out on bicycles.
it's just looking at stuff and just being like, that's cool. What is that? Why does that exist? Sometimes that's kind of like the beauty of like some of the mid-school stuff is you look at it and you're just like, why is this a thing?
Yeah, something led to this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone woke up and said, I've got an idea.
I need this.
Yeah. This needs to happen. And then it's like, did it really?
Yeah.
Did 10-piece bars need to happen?
Do we need peg bosses on frames and forks? Were bending axles really that big of a problem?
Yes.
They were, yeah.
Yeah. Hell, I remember doing that when I first started. Then again, that's when like nitrous and all that crap was a thing.
Yeah, I think I
Yeah,
have
but like the frame we looked at earlier, it had 14 millimeter axle slots, but the peg boss was still 3/8. So what were you like?
What were you gaining?
Well, yeah, if you had made your axle slot 3/8 still, but put a 14 millimeter peg boss in it, say, all right, cool. I understand what you did there. But when you're putting a 3/8,
that's what you
stud through
you bend and break that 3/8 stud that you can get at the hardware store instead of your axle.
realistically,
Yeah.
it's kind of like what we're at right now with our female hubs, where you're getting a rated bolt.
Mm-hmm.
And you can at least rely on the strength of that bolt
Right.
to be what they claim it to be.
And if it snaps, you're able to back that bolt out, just throw another bolt in. Whereas if you bend an axle or break an axle and you shred those threads,
Yeah, your hub's
your
out
hub
of
is pretty much
commission.
toast. Unless you have the means to, cut it off so that you can get that hardware off without destroying it. Yeah, I remember unsealed hubs, even sealed hubs.
But they still put a 14 mil axle in there. That's really the kicker. That's like throws you off on that. Granted, at that point, I'm not sure you could buy 3/8 hubs that weren't maybe profiles.
Yeah. Although,
Well, I mean race hubs, but
yeah, at one point it was like everything went to 14 millimeter for the most part for freestyle, like sealed and unsealed. You get unsealed like 14 millimeter, hubs, which is
Yeah.
kind of weird. But then like the one like the next gen over here, it has a set of snafu hubs on it. The back is 14 mil, the front is 3/8. It came with 14 millimeter adapters for the front if you had 14 millimeter fronts.
mm-hmm.
But that's where we kind of got out of the phase of like, well, we don't need a 14 millimeter axle on the front. I mean, we're landing hard, but not that hard,
I always liked the very beginning of the 14 millimeter era with slotted axles.
Okay.
And not that they were any good in the back because they just bent like a flat piece of steel wood. But in the front, you had the 14 millimeters vertically, but it was still a 3/8 slot. So you were shaving some weight there, but it was a 14 mil axle. Like it just made a lot of sense up front.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But in the back, it kind of never really did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah, it's kind of. I have some 14 millimeter slotted axles, and I always looked at them. I was like, it's just. Or what was even crazier was that I can't remember who did it.
Well, it was because the frames and forks were like you were coming from 3/8, so you needed the better
Axle.
hub and axle.
But if you weren't going to upgrade your frame,
Yeah, unless you had the ability to grind out your dropouts, like
which
you were,
everybody did at some point.
oh yeah, well because you bought the hub with the flat axle, you went through 3 of them, and you're like, all right, this is friggin' ridiculous. And out comes the grinder.
God. Fixing things with an angle grinder. Oh, pressed in stark nuts.
Those were the worst. I hated those.
Regular gyro cables.
My favorite thing about them was that after it finally failed, no one ever took them out. They just pushed another one in and hammered it down.
At one point, it was actually worth it for me to buy like an entire bag of star nuts and a star nut setter because I had so many people that were stripping out their star nuts that it was actually profitable to like have that on hand, so I could just be like, oh, you need a new one, here you go, pops it in place, centered it perfectly, call it a day, you know.
My problem wasn't even stripping them. It was always I'd go to tighten it up because my headset would be loose, go to tighten it up, and I just pull the whole thing out.
Would you remember to like loosen the bolts on your stem first?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know how many kids rolled through here that were like, yeah, it's like you pulled the star nut out. I'm like, did you loosen the side bolts first? What?
Yeah, no, I would do that.
Yeah.
I would over tighten the fuck out of it, I guess. I don't know.
You know you got to loosen those bolts first.
When everything started to thin out and your steer tube was getting a little bit thinner, it didn't pound in with the same force.
Yeah. Yeah, because I started riding at the tail end of that. Star nuts were only around for probably a couple years after I started riding.
I liked when people pounded a star nut into their threaded fork. And then it didn't hold because it wasn't thick enough and it was threaded.
God, threaded forks.
But I liked the welded star nut phase.
Yeah.
Where
that
it was
wasn't
just
going
welded
anywhere.
right in. It was very clear that you didn't need a star nut. It was, maybe a 3/8 bolt.
Right, so
down.
you could just ram a bolt in there and call it.
Yeah, and reef it right down. Everyone was happy with that. And then Odyssey had to come out with these fancy ones that the bolt just threaded right into the steer tube.
Wait, before...
No, I think other people did it first.
There was also that really kind of weird phase where you had that huge nut that went on the top, and they threaded the outside of the 1 3/8 fork, which is just bonkers. Yeah.
I remember the
and
ones
headlocks. Do you remember those?
Yes, those are awesome.
Where instead of a star nut, you put the thing all the way up through the bottom of the fork.
Yeah.
And it just clamped everything together so it couldn't pull out.
I remember the ones where it wasn't really... It was like the same concept of a star nut, and like you said, welded in there, but it was just like a little threaded plate that sat on the inside. Just like a circle plate that was welded in the inside, and then it had like that bolt up top that you'd have to use like a wrench. I don't even remember what size, but you put that in, kind of like the precursor to like the full-on threaded fork.
As long as you weren't using front brakes, you were good. So,
yeah.
You know.
Or as long as they didn't weld it crooked, which happened far too often.
Yeah.
We're talking quality control? Yeah.
Well, and actually fabricating a jig to hold everything in place, like...
Yeah, I feel like they just shoved a copper pipe up in the bottom and just held it there. Like, I think that looks good, weld it.
Sand it. It works. I mean, the top caps that thread in now are nice. Granted, if you got some kid that doesn't know what the hell they're doing and they start throwing like an American Allen wrench in there instead of a metric, they're going to strip the hell out of it. If it just has a Allen broach and that's it, I've struggled with so many of those. The kids have torqued them out. Couple brand, I know the kink ones. I think it's like a 6, an 8, and a ratchet. So it's like there's no excuse. It's like you should be able to get this thing out.
Yeah.
The Odyssey ones I know have that weird kind of like a weird smiley face in there. So worst case scenario, you can take a freaking, screwdriver and huck that sucker around. But the ones that just have just like one, 6mm Allen broach on it and stuff like that, that thing's getting stripped. it's almost a guarantee it's getting toast.
When the 6 is better than the quarter. Like back when everyone was doing a 1/4 inch one.
Right.
The 6 was better than that because you could jam a 6 in the quarter.
Well,
And then you would strip your 1/4 inch out, not even knowing that you were using the wrong wrench.
yeah.
Well, remember for a while there, it's like not everything was metric, stuff. Some stuff was, American as well. So it's like, you'd have a brand like, S&M or something like that. And it's like, some people would be throwing like a 6 mil in there or whatever.
Yeah, that's
whatever
what
the
I'm
equivalent
saying,
was,
right? It's like you just strip it out because your 6 mil is it 2 or 6 point? No, sorry, 0.236 inches. So you're like almost there.
It's real close, but it's just enough movement to round that sucker off.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, on it, just tightening it down real good. You blow it out and you're done.
Yeah. I mean, if you were adjusting your bike, it's like, well, did you have a 15 mil in front? Did you have a 17 mil in back? Or was it a 19 mil?
Oh, it was a 19 mil.
Or was it a 19 mil? Or was it maybe a 3/8 or 3/4? 3/4 for some of them, weren't they?
Yeah.
But they're like nearly identical.
Yeah. It was one of those things where it was like,
Those
how many different tools do you have to carry?
3/4 and 19 are completely interchangeable either way.
Okay, all right.
I remember 15 and 19 was like what I had on most of my bikes growing up for axle bolts. And then, it just changed. Like, I don't know. It feels like it wasn't that long ago, but I know it was. It was like a year or two before I moved to Florida. So.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like everybody just kind of agreed. It's like, you know what? Let's just make this simple.
Like, I know you only need a 15 up front, but if we put a 17 up there, everyone's life's going to be a lot easier.
Yeah, it's one less wrench that you have to carry. So.
Kevin's doing research.
We're pretty hardcore over here.
Setting up the computer now.
He's going to live stream during the
live stream during the podcast, which hasn't come out yet. In the future.
I like it.
Actually, that would be, we should have done that. We should have called Brant and said, okay, we're going to live stream the filming of a podcast.
He live streamed the podcast that we did together.
That's awesome.
He live streamed like a portion of it.
That's awesome and hilarious. Oh, cool. Downloading. Wait for that for the next 20 minutes. So. But yeah, I think part 2 is definitely a thing that does need to happen. So that's a good. I think that's a good stopping point because that way it leaves them with a little bit of a taste on their tongue, and they know that something is going to happen, but we're not going to tell them what. I think we've already told them,
Well, it might have taken some time to get there, but I would say that we've touched on some pretty interesting older topics.
Yeah.
And like, if you listen to this and you don't at least go Google the Lee Pipes thing, Lee Pipes BMX, and understand those pants.
We're gonna after this podcast we're gonna look at the Google Analytics and we're gonna see like what the top searches are, and for some reason like there's gonna be a massive spike in like Lee Pipes jeans. So at least like 4 other people are gonna.
Everyone's gonna search for them, and then they're gonna reissue like a new version of them and lose so much money.
They're gonna be like, wow, look at all the search hits we're getting for these things. that poor guy, that poor intern that has been tasked with like how to turn the Lee version of Levi's around. Yeah. That is Levi's, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like he's gonna be like, he's been watching, and all of a sudden he's like, there's an uptick. It's like now's the time, and he hits the big red button, and production goes in, and next thing you know, it's a clearance rack. So. Which is perfect for me because then I can buy them. So
Yeah, but they're not Gen 1s.
They're not OG. They're Repop.
Yeah, they're going to be skinny this time with the thing still.
They're skinny with it just on there, just to be ironic. Right?
Yeah,
that's like
it's the style.
That would be
because it looks so cool to have that brush guard on the right leg and the ankle bands.
Would the best part be? I want to see James ride him just because you run left side drive.
Let's wear them backwards.
No, all right. Here's the question: if anyone remotely involved in BMX was involved in like rebranding and bringing those back out, would both legs have the guard, or would you be able to buy left and right hand drive versions?
I think you would definitely need left and right hand drive specific because unless it's
Excuse me, are these pants left hand drive or right hand drive?
I don't know. Enough people do like opposite tail whips and stuff nowadays that guard could be useful.
No, the guard was just like it was harder material so that it didn't get caught in the chain.
No, we're not talking about the ankle guard. We're talking about the chain guard on
Yeah,
the jeans.
yeah.
So it's
I thought
the guard on the
was a little
jeans isn't for
harder.
tail whips. Come on, James, don't be
I thought
ridiculous.
it was a little
So-
harder. Never
No,
mind.
it's
back
to
when
keep
you
your
had a
chain
45 tooth sprocket
Yeah.
and a 9/16 chain.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, I remember that. The dyno that I had, that all chrome dyno.
Yeah.
I had like a tattoo for that I got when I was 13 of just teeth mark into my leg, and it was in there until I was 17.
That's the thing. It's I think it was more just to keep the grease off that pant leg. I think it was probably legit Kevlar at the time. I think you could get away with that, and it was probably just enough to it was abrasion resistant, and also your jeans didn't get a grease
Gotcha.
stain. So, wow. Okay, that's about as like I said, we were looking for a natural stopping point. Then grease stained jeans is the way to go. So.
Yep.
I mean, to be fair,
Just gonna keep it going. Yeah.
I've got 28 hours left on my memory card before we have to stop.
We're just gonna follow you to work tomorrow.
That would be really interesting because
But
as long as you guys wear the high vis stuff and a hard hat, you probably get away with it. So
Oh, I have that back in my car.
Walmart's open 24 hours.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll just say that you're
We're just shadowing you.
you're here to again. Shadow came up. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's some weird sponsorship thing in the future. Hashtag sponsor me.
Yeah, well,
Do they
I
make
mean,
front? Do
they
they
already
make front?
called you. That's
Wait.
the past now.
Do they
If
make?
Big Boy can get a signature helmet and Trey Jones is already all about the Janko jeans, we just need to get them on board with bringing these back.
Yeah, bring back front brake forks. We're good to go. So.
Bring back the...
Lee Pipes
Lee
BMX.
Pipes, yeah. Lee Pipes sponsors. Come on. You want to.
I'll wear pants if you give them to me.
Yeah, right?
I'll wear pants.
Only if you give them to me, though. Otherwise, I'm just freeballing. I don't care.
All right, so to wrap,
All right.
I'm freeballing. All right.
James.
follow MISCKEVIN on Instagram.
Thank you.
Follow at JAMESYUSCZYK on Instagram.
We both have a CZ in there. It's pretty cool. Oh, wait. No, we don't. Oh, landline.
Oh,
Let's do
oh!
it
Did we
again.
blow it up? Is it canceled?
More sponsors. They coming. No idea who that is.
Maybe it's your other sponsor calling.
Could be.
Answer it. Answer it with something weird. Come on.
Um,
Give me it.
Anyway, and then you can also check out GrindWorks BMX on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat is at GrindWorks_BMX. On Facebook, Mixer, YouTube,
MySpace.
maybe MySpace
You should make MySpace.
Bringing it back.
is at GrindWorks BMX without an underscore. There's another one, and I just can never remember what it is, and I feel real dumb about it every
Anchor?
time.
You already did that.
Anchor?
Anchor, yeah. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts,
I mean, you could just follow Andy around, too.
or you could just watch it on YouTube and see all the fun stuff we've been talking about. But yeah, we will follow this up with another one. Thanks for checking out another episode of the GrindWorks podcast.
Thanks for coming, boys.
Thank you.
Woo!